You guys still there? I think my audio dropped where you guys are gone.
You're still here.
Okay.
We can get
I
a
think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
there was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
no, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money. Yo, take two. Motherfucker. You know, here's what I think is happening. I think the intro video actually fucked things up. Because I think it's still trying to sync with OBS in the cloud or something.
Okay.
And so, because it's trying to sync in the background, and we've got a Skype caller, and I live in the hood. I got WoW. Sorry.
Hey, fools agree there. Wow, gang. gang.
So for those of you that were on the original with us, we have a guest caller. Matt calling in from Columbus.
Hey,
This is
Matthew, how do you do?
I do what I do, you know.
I know that's right.
Right,
That's
I feel
all
you.
we can do.
So this is my brother Matt, but not the one you're thinking of.
Right.
The other man.
The other.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we have like it's sort of a strange relationship. We're not quite stepbrothers, but
But that's kind of the vibe, right?
But you both have fucked up a bunk bed or two. Let's put it that way. How you been, Matt? What's been going on?
not much. Cliff, how you been, dude?
Man, I'm just trying not to let them drown me. Trying to keep my head above water.
Aren't we all?
But I feel like I'm being waterboarded at the moment.
Being waterboarded?
Mhm.
Is that what happens when you work from home? Is you
that
just
shit-
periodically get
That
waterboarded?
shit ain't no joke, boy.
I was gonna say, are you guys both still employed? You know, how's
Yeah.
the lockdown treating you?
God bless. Now
True.
you know I'm not gonna not count my blessings and say because it could be a lot worse. But I am working from home at the moment. As I said before, take my gas money because as soon as this is over, I'm going back to the office. I don't care if they ask me to continue working from home. Give me a desk. Give me a desk, you son of a bitch. I
My
can't do
wife
it.
said the same damn thing,
I
man.
can't.
She's been working from home for like 2 weeks now, and it's driving her up the fucking walls. Man.
Listen.
She cannot wait to go to work.
My drive on a good day to work, a good day, no traffic, is about 25 minutes. And I miss the drive. I miss the traffic. I miss getting my
me
head
time.
together. Right, getting my
Right.
head together before I step in.
I hear you on that.
Now it's literally to the point that I'm rolling out of bed, brushing my teeth, and damn near in my drawers, hopping on the computer to start my work day. Like I'm hopping in the shower on my lunch breaks.
All right. I mean,
You know
that's
what I
basically
mean?
what I'm doing. Like, I'm waking up at 6:30, 6:45,
Yeah,
doing 4 miles,
Mhm.
and then coming up and hopping on the 8 a.m. call and hoping that I got a break at about 10 to go shower. So I feel you on that. I mean, I'm just happy that I've showered twice or 3 times
Right.
this week. So
I heard some funny ass stories about people playing like meeting bingo, where they're trying to see if they can catch a kid in the background. You get
Right.
points.
Oh, really?
right.
You can catch, yeah,
No.
pajamas. If you can catch like a half empty bottle of vodka in the
Oh,
background.
yeah, no.
See, I'm lucky. We're hosted away over here in the attic. Actually, if I were to turn my webcam about 45 degrees to the right, you can see my desk.
Right. Yeah, no, I got my camera shut on my computer.
Now, the flip side of all of that is it did let me, even though it crashed the stream, it did let me work on that intro video during meetings today.
Good.
So that was good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I hope that there's no way that they can see me working from home.
Right.
I have.
Did you cover the webcam? You taped it up and everything?
No, it's a slide.
Oh,
online.
You got a slide?
But
All
my
right.
whole thing is, as I said, I take showers in my lunch break. So I have multiple times been in front of that computer in my towel responding to an email or something.
So I got a point to make here. Like about a week ago, I had the epiphany of, oh my God, like they just turned this on overnight. Everybody work from home. This is going to be revolutionary, and so many businesses are going to close up these brick and mortar buildings.
Right.
Because what the fuck? What? I mean, we just turned the switch and everybody works from home. Why the hell wouldn't we just keep this rolling?
Right.
But you guys are making all the arguments against it.
Right. I mean, listen.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get
take my gas money.
Right.
Bump it back up to $2.75. Take my gas money.
Speaking of which, I filled up for under $2 a gallon earlier this week.
Are you surprised?
Dude, it's $1.
It's crazy.
You know what? You know what is ironic to me is this is the first time I've ever seen gas lower in the hood than in the burbs.
Than out in the burbs. That's because nobody's driving downtown.
I was just in Whitehall yesterday, and it's like still $1.80, but in Grove City, it's like $1.64.
Really?
See, but when I went out to go pick my desk up from work, it's at Hilliard. Hilliard's usually 20 cents lower than around my house.
Yeah.
My house, it was $1.75. There, it was $1.89. And I was thinking that is definitely backwards. It's usually I will ride on fumes to get to work to fill my tank up, passing gas stations on the way.
That's crazy.
Because it's that much cheaper out there.
Crazy. Crude oil is going up at what, like $25 a barrel now, man? It's fucking nuts.
Man.
That is crazy.
Listen.
Dude, it was at like when 9/11 happened, it was at like a $1.50 a barrel. And here we are 20 years later. And remember the run on gas stations back then? Now here we are 20 years later.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, gas was outrageous for a while there.
Dude, I don't know. Markets are weird.
Right?
And then, are they giving out this money? That's what a real nigga want to know.
Oh,
what's good with the money? Where's the cash at? Orange is the new black.
$1 billion just pulling it right out of their ass.
Man.
Right. But we're not fans of socialism in this country.
I thought that was the missing tax
I love
money.
It, man. They shut out Andrew Yang from the fucking debates because he was talking about UBI.
Right.
And here we are.
Right.
Everybody getting a universal basic income.
Not even. But he was talking about monthly though.
But you know what?
Wasn't he talking about monthly or something?
Fuck y'all, because guess who ain't getting shit?
Do you think we feel bad for you?
No, not at all. But everybody's all excited about this shit, and I'm like, we're not getting
this son of a bitch is making 3 of my incomes talking about guess who's not getting shit. They're giving me $1,200, sir.
Right, that's gonna balance it out.
Right.
Wait. I mean, you just kind of dropped the line on your income there. So you're making over $200K a year.
Not just me. that's joint.
But the limit on that, like I just read it today, 198.
I thought it was 150.
No.
Oh, I thought last I saw for joint was 150. All right,
I actually got a video I could reference if you'd like.
Why'd you send me an article that I won't read?
Right. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's not getting shit. Nope, because you didn't even get it for the kids.
No.
Seriously, no. I actually thought a lot about this past few days as this has been rolling out. Like, I'm still working.
Yeah.
You know, should I decline this check?
Fuck no.
It's my social responsibility, because I'm not hurting for cash, and I know a lot of people are.
No, wait.
I get it. But that's not part of the equation.
Matt, now you're an angel. Wait, you're an angel and a gym and a scholar. Now that was the most ludicrous thing. I almost feel like Mike should give me the $1,200 if I'm being honest. And yes, I'm still working, and I won it. I want that money.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm struggling with this because they're talking about giving me $2,900 because I got my wife, me, and a kid.
Right.
No, you need that.
I mean,
no.
I'm doing what? Turn my nose up at $3,000?
No, sir. You need that. You need that.
I do, because the future is not written yet.
Right.
And this this shit's gonna be going for a while.
Period.
Oh, no doubt.
Period.
We're gonna be in this mode. I think at least until the end of May, if not middle of June.
Oh, are you guys thinking
Right.
that early?
Oh, you think it's gonna go longer than that?
Man, listen, I'm
No,
thinking
they're
the
calling
earliest we
people
get out
on
of
May
this is
1st.
August. I'm thinking the earliest we get out of this is August. Once the hot summer days start coming, I think for some reason things will start shaking.
I think you'll see civil unrest before then. That's why I don't think it could go that far.
So here's reality. I'm just want to talk some stats here because
All
I
right.
think you guys talk a little bit about it.
Of
The
course.
stat man.
The last
The
podcast,
stat
you guys
man.
are talking- No, it's like a nightly thing. I dig into the fucking research, like I did like hour a day. What's new on COVID, and this shit is ridiculous, man. More than anywhere. So depending on the study you're looking at, 30 to 60%, depending on again where they got their numbers. It was China, it was Italy. 30 to 60% of people that have it are asymptomatic or have mild conditions that could easily be,
Right.
dismissed as the flu or a cold.
Yep.
Right.
So you're talking about 30 to 60% of the people. Let's just, be conservative, call it 40. 40% of people walking around there that have it are spreading it and have no idea they're doing it.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
And that's usually how it is, though. You know what
No,
I mean?
that is, and I think what's interesting is well, it's not interesting. It's a shame because the current administration doesn't know what the fuck to do. Like the states that have seemed to have gotten out ahead of this have done exactly what they intended to do.
What?
They have pushed out the peak and have flattened the curve. Like you
Right,
see everybody
right.
talking about flattening the curve. Like even Acton basically said, our original numbers had us hitting the peak this week.
Right.
The original
This is good,
projections.
but everybody-
That's
everybody's
definitely
looking at
good.
this
I
in,
just
in the
didn't
wrong way. It's not
see
about
that.
like one big bell curve at the beginning and then it slowly
Right.
tapers off.
Right.
It's going to be a wave function. It's going to have
Yep.
peaks and valleys. It's
Right.
going to, as soon as this lockdown lifts after April 6th, if they lift it, they're going to have to lift it eventually. But the virus isn't gone, and it's just people are going to go back into public, and it's going to surge again, and it's going to lock
Right.
down again, and it's just going to go up and down, up and down.
Well, see, I didn't think that this was like the projected to be the high point.
It was originally when the outbreak first started. They expected it was either this week or next week to be like where we'd hit peak, but because they've done all the shutdown and the stay at home and everything, they feel like they've pushed it out now until like the end of April, which means basically what we've done is given hospitals time, 1, to ramp up, 2, to treat kind of what's in flight. But when we do hit the peak, they're talking like, what was it? What was the number I saw? Like some odd number, 1,000 cases a day, new cases a day.
That's what they said. That they said that. I can't remember where it was. It was an article or a video that I saw online where they were talking about New York alone. They project half of the city to get it,
Right.
and that hasn't.
Stay
taken
safe
place.
out there, Ashley.
And that hasn't taken place yet. It's to the point now that because I do like medical leave, that people are calling saying that New Yorkers are leaving New York to summer houses in Florida and here and there because they're trying to get out of that area.
Well, and
with
meanwhile,
all the people.
they're infected and they're spreading stuff. That was actually my concern.
I mean, again, let's look at numbers here. I just pulled this up. Worldwide cases of coronavirus, 595,952. That's confirmed cases worldwide. That is the population of New York and all the boroughs around it is like 13 million.
Right.
And that's one city.
Right.
I mean, so we got to look at this, big picture. This is just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, for sure.
Although it's interesting because the countries that seem to have gotten ahead of it have already seen a decline in cases.
Right.
Now, to your point,
What? China? Do you believe one word
No.
coming out of China right now? They
No.
are fucking lying.
Well, China and Italy. I actually
it's
saw
China, Italy, and no, the one that I saw hope with was South Korea.
Listen, I saw
They're being very proactive about it in South Korea.
Right.
Agreed.
Italy, I don't dispute those numbers at all. But China has a total media lockdown.
Oh, no doubt.
They have their own internet.
I wasn't talking
and they're
about.
saying 0 cases, zero new cases.
Right.
Bullshit.
right.
Well, and honestly,
take off
it's
the
the same
mask
thing
then.
we're talking about in the States too, though. Is that even if even though cases, we're not necessarily seeing the spikes that we're expecting to, but that's because testing. There's not enough testing in the States right now.
Right.
Oh no.
They don't have enough.
And again,
I-
30. What'd you say? What'd we say our conservative number was? 40% are asymptomatic. Like,
Right.
And then they said the thing about
Have been tested, just rolling around, not giving a fuck.
Right.
My whole thing is, I just saw an article. I don't know how accurate it is. They were talking about the confirmed cases of corona here.
Yeah.
And they said that we've now surpassed every other country. And it's only like 80-something thousand. So if there's 500-something thousand in the world, are they just like completely evened out across the countries to where we're in the lead at 81,000?
So what I think it is I think we have probably been able to roll out. I don't want to say that either. I was just going to say from a testing perspective. The other side of that is, to the point, like, China's not reporting numbers. China probably has more cases than us.
No, everything's fine.
I would imagine. Right.
It's all fine. Wait. It's all fine here now. How are you?
Let me just make sure I'm understanding. Virus allegedly came from your country. Allegedly with air quotations. And then
allegedly you manufactured it.
Right. Hunan.
Let's not go down the rabbit.
I understand.
I get it.
We already played that game a couple weeks ago.
But we know that numbers spiked initially in your country.
Yes.
It continues.
Confirmed.
In your country.
Confirmed.
Yet we are the leading number of cases. Now, don't get me wrong.
Negative.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, and I can't. Like, the numbers just don't add up.
Like Shakira's hips, the numbers don't lie.
They're lying. Oh, this is a hipless bitch here.
Acton here in Ohio just said the other day that they have zero idea. She, as the health director, has no idea how many tests have actually been done in the state of Ohio. They only are required to tell them about confirmed cases when they do a test. And you have, according to her statement, you have like a dozen different organizations doing these tests. A lot of them are private, and they have no jurisdiction, from the Ohio Department of Health other than, to report the confirmed case.
Right.
So, I mean, again, there's just not enough data, like this being shared. It's just all pouring in way too fast, and nobody can make heads or tails of this. And that's why you turn on one media site, they've got one set of information. Then you go to the next page. Again, I go through this shit like an hour a day, and every fucking page I go to has different information.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason why I think you got to find your sources and lock into them. Like, yes, you can kind of look around to validate, but like I'm listening to Acton, and I'm looking at Johns Hopkins.
I mean, I almost feel
Johns Hopkins is a good one. That's one. CDC as well. I go to UK a lot.
CDC just makes me nervous because at the end of the day, it's at the direct discretion of Trump. Like, Trump could say, suppress those numbers at any minute, and I don't doubt that he will.
You want to go into conspiracy theories? Yeah, I got a good one for you.
Let's hear it. You got the right guy.
My conspiracy on this is that they don't. All right, so everybody's hip to the whole you can't get a test for COVID, even if you fucking want one. Like I know 3 people personally that think they got it, asked to get tested, and the doctor said, no, we can't do it. Go home and just isolate yourself. So,
well, Matt, I'm glad that you Skyped in and didn't come visit.
Right. No, seriously, no. I mean, I'm out in the world, man. I feel bad even coming home every day.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Like my job requires me to go out because if I don't, like, I work in a greenhouse and the plants will fucking die if we don't show up.
Right.
And so, and plus agriculture gets, we fall into that exempt category, and hey, we're gonna try and make money if we can.
Because that's what it's about. It's about the dollar.
Well, and that's exactly why.
Mike, I sent you a text, when you first asked me about it, I'm still working, fortunately, unfortunately, like, I feel blessed, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, damn, I wish I had a work-from-home job. That'd be great.
Right. No, I hear you.
Listen, though, but what she said is about the people that she said that think they have it and have been sent home by the doctors. As I said, I do medical review.
Right.
That's most of the cases.
Yeah.
That's most of the cases. Most of the cases are quarantine yourself until we have time to get a test, or
until you've gotten worse and you meet the criteria, or don't worry about it when you get better.
Right.
Going back to the conspiracy theory is that this is actually, my theory is that this is to reduce panic, because if the real number came out, if they were able to test everybody that thought they had it, and that number came out, people would freak the fuck out.
But here's the problem with that, is that if the real number came out,
it would let us know it's not that big of a deal.
Right, the mortality rate would be different.
Right.
You're right.
You'd be a much lower mortality rate.
Right.
Well, I mean, you're looking at, the reality is that only 4% worldwide actually die.
Right.
Italy's getting hit harder because they have an elderly population.
Yep.
Second highest in the world. You look at China, based on their initial, hit with it, you can't take any, more numbers from them because, we've already talked about that.
Right.
But, you look at it here in the States, and again, mortality rate is at like 1.5%.
Yep. And I think that's partially because in those hardest hit areas, they took the action.
So you're talking about 95% of people that get this thing are walking away.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I'm not a betting man per se, but if I'm in Vegas, I'm putting my money down.
I would definitely put my money down. Let's be honest, but I'm also
those
not
are
gonna
fucking good odds, man.
lick a fucking toilet seat. You see these people, like those are the people
like
that
a little
don't get
kid
me wrong.
licking the subway rail in New York.
Don't get me wrong, I understand that. I try not to have a malicious bone in my body, but take them, Lord, take them all. Take them all. Take all the seatbelt lickers and the toilet seat liquor. Because basically what you're saying is, I get it's a joke and do anything for clout or fame. But basically what you're saying is, I don't value life enough to give a fuck.
Right.
These likes are more important than my health.
Give me these
Take
likes.
them, Lord. Please take them
Give
now.
me the likes.
Well,
Give me the likes.
Like,
Let's
get
also
the
talk demographics.
stupidity off. Don't let them procreate.
You're not wrong.
It's not just dumbasses out there. The demographics show it's mostly elderly people over the age of 50 that are getting hit hardest by this. And so, another radical idea I have is a self-infection clinic. So you voluntarily go in and get infected with coronavirus if you are below the age of 35.
And what would that do?
Just to build up the herd immunity?
Right, exactly. You think about how dramatically, if they were to set up stadiums, where you could house 50,000 people, 100,000 people, they just, hey, go in here, we're going to inject you with coronavirus, you're under the age of 35, hey, there's only 5 respirators in this motherfucker, so, because we need the rest of them in the hospital, so you're rolling the dice here, sign the waiver, but odds are you're going to walk out of here just fine.
That's not a bad idea.
Until it mutates and turns us all into zombies.
Listen, then it's okay because they're already in the stadium. Just lock the doors and set it on fire. You're already in the stadium.
Right.
So that's your 2 birds, 1 stone here. It's a win-win in my book.
We took a wrong turn here.
Right. Clearly.
Matt, I need you to reel us back in. That's usually my job, but today we're going to put it on the guest.
Right. Listen. You're the chauffeur. You're the DD.
Short of lighting the stadium on fire. No, you just quarantine people, for 14 days. They voluntarily get the infection. You pump it into them. And, dude, you inoculate large portions of the population in mass quickly.
No, that's pretty smart.
And then as much as it sounds like kind of fascist Nazi Germany kind of thing, but you get a card. It says, "Hey, I'm clear."
Because I've had it already.
Yeah, exactly. You got the immunity to it. We inoculate again.
But the question though, because now the other side of me, the argumentative side of me, says that if you're infecting that many people, could you then speed up or fast track a COVID-20?
Well, I think that's actually what's interesting is that if you read and again, this goes back to we had this discussion 2 weeks ago, but like predictions say we're gonna have this big pneumonia-like disease
It'll fall
in the
off,
year
come back
2020.
10
years
years later,
it'll come back, and it will be twice as devastating.
Right, and you'll never.
Oh,
see
this
it
ain't
again.
gonna be the last time we have one of these.
No,
because
we're a global
But
society
my whole
now.
thing about that though is if people were volunteering to get it and you did build up that immunity, I feel like there could also be like a mutation to create the next
one
generation
Absolutely.
of
okay,
it.
so I mean, I listened to what was Michael Osterholm. He was on Rogan's podcast a few
I know
weeks
exactly
back.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he talked about basically, so the possibility of mutation and the basically how it normally would work under normal circumstances is that the virus is going to try and mutate inevitably to try and perpetuate itself, but
Right.
it's built the same building blocks that it was originally built on, and if you've already been infected by it, you have basically the foundation in your white blood cells
Right.
fight off,
To fight it
and it'll be
again.
easier for you to overcome the next wave.
Right. Now the question is though, even if it may be easier for you, but what about the relatives? You know what I mean? After that 14 days is up, yes, you may be good for COVID-19, but then if you do get that genetic mutation and that time period is over for quarantine, you could be spreading it to your elderly relatives. At that point, you're running a risk of even going around people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's back to the same kind of
Stay
risk.
the fuck home. No, like I'm not going around old people at all.
Right.
But see, that's what's crazy. Then we're one step closer to never leave the home, live in a virtual reality world where that's the only time you get out the house is connecting to the Matrix.
Whatever, man. I'm ready for the Oasis. Let's go.
You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. That leads me to a few questions that I have, but I won't bring them up quite this moment. But I guarantee you, in the Matrix.
By the way, while you're thinking, hold that thought real quick.
Oh, sure.
I got to give a shout out to the chat.
Okay.
Our boy Jake out in D.C.
Jake.
On the chat.
My guy.
He's basically telling us we're being too serious, but...
Oh, is that right? And I agree.
Why so serious?
I agree, Jake. But I enjoy the conversation.
I'm with you. We're having a good chat here.
And you got to think, out of the 4 fans we have, I'm pretty sure 3 of them are over the age of...
All 3 of them. All 3 of them. They're all over 30. It's fine. Oh, wait. You talking about... I hear you.
Right.
We have our one fan who's over 60.
Yeah, I'm saying we got a couple.
But honestly, she's going to outlive us all because she's an ultra runner and she'll just run. She just keeps running and never stops. So... She posted yesterday that she did 24 miles yesterday, so I'm not worried about her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she ran through the hospital.
Goodness gracious,
You are a
where
fool
did you
for
run
that.
for 24 miles? I hope that was on a treadmill.
No, she was
covering
outside.
actual ground.
She was outside.
Did she have
Oh,
an N95 on?
But she doesn't like people, so she stays away from people anyway.
Right.
She barely tolerates us.
Right. No, I get it.
But she was here for pizza tonight.
That'll
so.
be me when I get older, minus the running.
That's me now, minus the running.
Listen, this guy's waking up at 6:45, praying he gets the shower at 10.
The craziest part about this is when I hear the anecdotes of people that are in perfect health, going down.
Yeah.
Because of I mean, like I heard Sam Harris talking about this a couple weeks ago. He knew 5 people in L.A. that are ultramarathoners, regularly active mountain climbers, skiers, the whole smash, and they're in chemically induced comas because the coughing fits got so bad.
That's crazy.
So I mean, it is like a weird ass roll of the dice, and we're not all immune because we're under the age of 50.
Right. Didn't they just say that there was a confirmed death in Ohio for somebody under the age of 18?
I didn't see that.
I want to hear the backstories. Again, there's just too much hearsay, too much misinformation. Right.
Were they immunocompromised already? Is that the thing?
Yeah. Was this person suffering from stage 4 cancer of the lungs?
Right. Those. I mean, those are good questions for sure.
I just look at stats. I mean, stats don't matter. Like my dad has said this repeatedly throughout my life, and he's not wrong. stats matter nothing to the individual.
Right.
But they give you a good baseline for the populace.
Right,
Yep.
right. No,
That's yeah, I hear you. That's kind of mine on the opposite is I trust a person, I don't trust people.
yeah, I guess somewhat. I'm rough on the person. Because even if I trust you, I'm still looking behind you, waiting to see.
I am more capable of
package,
trusting a
what's going
person than I am of trusting people. We'll put it that way.
Right.
All right.
Secret society, all we ask is trust. Before we switch up the corona topic, though,
What you got?
I started to wonder, because I've been updated to this corona porn situation, right?
Corona
Are you
porn.
not hip,
Wait.
Mr. Statistics? You're not digging?
Man, apparently, I'm going to the wrong sites.
Listen, corona porn is rampant.
So wait, are you going to bring up...
This is rampant as the COVID.
Are you going to bring up the one that I brought up?
Which one? Which one did you bring
Are you
up?
going to bring up the one I brought up?
What's that?
The one I texted you about.
You texted me? Let me go back.
Oh, man.
Let me see.
All right, so my corona porn update, because I just saw this one, there were 2 lesbians going at it on top of 150 rolls of toilet paper.
I do remember you texting me that. But see, did they have the mask on?
No, this wasn't with masks. This was, well, maybe they did. I don't remember.
So was it corona porn or toilet paper porn?
No, it definitely said coronavirus on it. But it was basically the coronavirus turned me lesbian or something. It was something to that effect.
Oh my!
Why would it turn you lesbian?
I have no idea, but it was 2 girls on top of like 150 rolls of toilet paper.
All right, that's more comical than anything else. What are the sick, twisted ones that are out there?
And then what? Okay, so
couldn't help you with the 6 twisted ones. This was one I just saw in passing.
So remember when I gave you the update that we now have oral in
There's
corona
now oral,
porn?
right.
So I saw innovative oral in the corona porn.
Innovative.
Cut a hole through her. through her mask.
Through the face mask. It's like the opposite of a gag ball. Is that what it was? It was just the ring.
Oh my god!
You got that, sir. You got that, sir.
I'm changing my tune here. Let the fucking virus take us down.
Listen, corona porn.
You're not
I'm telling
wrong.
You. But you know what? Then I started thinking about it.
We need a culling of the herd, man. This is getting too much.
I agree. But then I thought about it, and you know how like Pornhub is like boosting the amateur now, like sending amateur porn.
They're boosting the amateur, and they just let premium go free for anybody that was wondering.
Really?
Pornhub Premium is now free.
Why is it free?
Because they realize that everybody's sitting home right now, and they want to hook you. They want to hook you while you're here, and then keep you.
Well, isn't that crazy? All my corona porn research, and I didn't know that premium was free. But how much corona porn do you think is organic? You know what I mean? Like these 2 people are just fucking, but because of corona, we're gonna wear a mask.
I don't think any of it.
Why not?
Because I think then it's just amateur porn. I don't think amateurs are throwing on masks.
Why not? What do you mean?
Because they're already fucking.
But I'm saying no. I can wear a condom.
What
everybody wants?
I don't understand.
If I have a condom and a mask, what is being transferred?
I don't know, man.
So what I'm saying is, if I think that you may have corona, but I haven't had some in a while, bring the condoms and the N95s.
This seems like a rhetorical question.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out because a lot of it was the grainy stuff that you said you liked, sir.
Right.
So if that's the case, then amateur. That's amateur, right? You would think if you were putting on a real corona porn film, it would be edited and directed properly. I don't know.
It's probably true.
Spitfire, and I don't know.
So maybe I don't know.
But that was my
I want to know what amateurs though are going out buying surgical masks for their porn video.
Chinese.
Oh, is it the Chinese?
It's the Chinese
Those fucking masks
amateurs.
right now.
What do you mean? That's the ones. They're wearing them to do everything. You think they're not wearing them to have sex?
All right, fair point.
I apologize to any nurses, doctors, or anybody in the healthcare field that's listening to this.
I mean, it's not. We're not the ones using them.
Right.
I know, but I'm just apologizing.
I've been
on
trying to
behalf
get
of
my
humanity.
N95s and my condoms. I don't know which one I'm gonna use first.
All right, you know what, Cliff? You mentioned COVID-20. Yeah, that needs to come back a little bit more harshly.
Right.
We need to up that mortality rate to like 20%.
We need to speed up that 10 years. Can we just knock it all out in one whop, sir?
Well, that was actually my original pitch. Was just introduce it into the entire
right now.
Senate and House and let it wipe out, 50% of the House. And let's start over. Let's have a fresh reboot on the entire government of the United States.
Okay, all right. Change gears here. Politics.
Uh-oh.
Is anybody else
I'm
like
listening to that.
ridiculously upset that Biden became the #1 runner?
I think everybody in this room does. I mean, Cliff doesn't like Cliff's not a big politics guy, but he said that if he were going to vote, it would be Bernie, right?
All right, Uncle Bernie. What is you talking about?
Not
That's the
Biden.
only one-
Bernie,
Oh my
right?
gosh, why would I vote for Biden?
I mean,
Why
I
would
just
I
think
vote
it's
for Biden?
it's funny that we pretty much we're enacting
I
like
wouldn't vote
Bernie's
for-
policies through
I'm
the
lying.
COVID bill, anyways. So.
I'm lying. Am I lying? Yeah, I won't say that.
You won't say what?
I was about to say I wouldn't vote for Obama Biden too. Fuck.
I would in a heartbeat.
I'm voting for
You know,
Obama Biden.
ironically enough, it's strange you say that. It was, I was a staunch Democrat up until 2014 or so, and it was, and I voted for Barack Obama twice.
I did too.
And
I
that
did too.
was the man. No, his hope and change, and the fact that nothing changed was the thing that turned me around. And just like I'm not Republican
Right.
either.
It's all a game.
I am a fucking political Martian. I don't agree with anybody.
That's how
Well,
I'm with you, sir.
I'm
We're the Martian Party.
I have started getting to the vote policies, not people. So if you find somebody that's
Right.
got a policy that you're passionate about or got a plan that you're passionate about, great. But people are all full of shit.
Who am I supposed to vote for here? Because this is like 2016 all over again. I voted for Gary Johnson, even though he was a fucking dumbass.
You
and
know
he
what's
couldn't
funny is that's
who
who
the
I
hell
voted
elected
for as well. That's who I voted for as
And
well.
you two are the problem. No, I'm kidding.
You're absolutely correct.
No. The system is the problem.
No, I agree with that
Part of
completely.
this
The
problem.
super delegates and all that shit, like, the Democratic Party doesn't give a fuck. The Republican Party doesn't give a fuck. Like, that's why I'm going to vote in the primary. I'm going to vote for Bernie
July 15th, everybody.
and pray. What I saw was April 28th is actually,
no.
they're forcing mail-in ballots.
April 20th, they bumped it up?
Yeah, so there is going to be no in-person voting. It's
really?
all being done through mail-in, and it's due by April 28th for those here in Ohio.
Trump 2024 or whatever the.
No.
So
I've been so focused on Corona.
on the Corona, you missed the election, and you think that wasn't part of the plan?
Those mail-ins,
Mr.
we're gonna
Conspiracy
lose
theory.
approximately 65%.
Yeah. No,
Right,
it's
do you think that even if Ohio swept Bernie, you think that he still has a chance?
no, I don't, and
No.
it's a shame. And the problem is that I will still vote for Biden because the alternative is Trump.
Yeah, no, seriously, like that's my biggest gripe. Like 2016 was my revolt, my personal protest against the system.
Right.
It was like, no, fuck both of you. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
I'll
exactly
just
how
go
I felt.
for Gary Johnson.
That's exactly how I
And
felt.
I don't consider myself a libertarian. I have my leanings, but like libertarians
Right.
are kind of fucking nuts. But I couldn't justify voting for Hillary Clinton or fucking Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly
and after
how I felt.
4 years of dealing with Trump, All right. You finally beat me in a submission, you sons of bitches. I'll vote for your bullshit candidate.
See, me and Mike had this conversation.
Yeah.
And just to recap, it doesn't change. Nothing changed for me.
Right.
Nothing changed for me from Obama to Trump. You know what I mean? And before that, and before that. So what is the point of me going out?
You and I talked about this. The thing that took over for me, and I'm with you guys. Like, I don't think there's a good candidate. I think it's voting for the lesser of two evils.
We're just changing
which
the
is
warden
funny
of the
because,
penitentiary.
But that's what our parents have said.
Warden.
That's what our grandparents said. Like, is it just that we've gotten old and we're dejected, or
we're finally realizing the truth?
Right. I think the other side of this is, for me, something did change in terms of, and we talked about this, like the bomb threats that were widespread against the Jewish community centers, and my son being at the JCC and basically.
But you don't think it was the same having to go through Obama?
There
and
weren't
black
though.
Folks?
I hear you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about why it changed for me. What the difference was for me.
Right.
I'm not talking about you right now. I talk about you enough, motherfucker.
Right.
But when the JCC started getting bomb threats, and like my son, who's at that point was 2 or 3, had to start going through lockdown drills, like that was a lot for me.
No, I get it.
And
I get
don't
it.
all kids
but
have to
I
go
mean, that's
like, if you
well,
go to
they
the
do
public
now.
school,
They do now. You're not wrong.
It's sad to say.
But these were active threats.
It's sad to say
not
that
just drills.
Children have to go through that.
Yeah.
But that's the discomfort that we go through on the. So it's time for the world to wake up. You know what I mean? For the white people to say, "Oh, is this what they feel?" Or the "Oh, I get it now." So if it takes this, then so be it. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But the long and the short of it is, the president doesn't change that. It's not going to take a president that we vote that changes the populace. The populace has to change. So it doesn't matter.
It has at least a little bit of some responsibility as being a figurehead. Being a representative of the country.
I mean, I get that. I do get that, being a representative to outside people.
Oh, within the country too. You know, I mean, everybody looks. You know, even when Obama was in, when Bush was in, when Clinton was in, the presidency, as much as people knock it and it doesn't have that much authority, it really does. But I mean, the biggest thing that the presidency does is it's a figurehead to draw people together.
Well, if anything,
it's supposed.
But let's be honest. I feel like Trump did that. Trump made the world an ongoing joke about how awful he is. The world. The entire world. You understand what I'm saying? The entire world was in on this joke with America on how bad Trump was.
I'm picking up.
All right.
So you united.
All right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying he did it on purpose.
I can hit you on that.
I'm not giving him the credit for that.
United everyone in hate.
Exactly. Like I said when we talked about it before.
United hate of America.
You need to kick people's feet off of the coffee table. You have to make them uncomfortable. We've been comfortable for so long that it's now time to make people uncomfortable, to see that things have to happen in order to change.
You know, and I think, you know what? If he didn't do it, this pandemic.
Exactly. I feel like we're on the right track.
You're not wrong there.
We are on the right track. And don't get me wrong. Once again, I want to reiterate to anybody out there that may be new listeners. I'm not saying that I like Trump or I want him in office for the next 4 years. I'm just saying I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care who you put there. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we have Biden in for the next 4 years, what do you think is going to happen that's different? It's just going to swing to the
I almost feel like...
Well, it's not...
The side of the aisle's big corporations that run...
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Ain't nothing going to change except which corporations are making out.
Right. That's it. That's it. Doesn't matter.
Ugh.
That's why I hate politics. It has nothing
Way
to
to
do
go,
with us.
Matt. Take us to politics.
It has nothing to do with us. Like,
what? It's the elephant in the room, man. We can't not talk about it.
Man, hey.
That's true. We always end up there. Even though we're a fun-loving show.
No, I don't say that we always do. I feel
Not
like
always.
I'm sorry. Like,
We've made it there through.
No, don't need to apologize.
But it's been about half the show.
It was the stick.
Really?
The
Politics we
I
talked?
used to do.
I feel like I know 3 for sure.
I feel like it's been at least 4.
That you could be right, but I feel like if
And it wasn't deep. It wasn't deep
right,
for
if
one
it
or
is
two
four,
of them.
then one or two we only talked about it for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But I mean, shit, like Matthew said, it's the elephant in the room.
Did you just call him Matthew?
Matthew.
Man,
Michael.
hey, so Cliff, I think you said you wanted to get to some questions for Matt.
Oh, I did
you
have a
you
couple
wanna hit
questions.
him up? I love these interview segments. So if you haven't watched the show, Matt, Cliff loves turning things into interviews. So
No.
he did an episode with
I only
me.
watched like 1.5. So I'm not fully hip to the interview segment, but I got a taste for it.
He does a good job with it.
Well,
so I'm gonna kick it over to him.
I only have a couple. I only actually prepared a couple questions, and to be honest, they're somewhat generic.
Well, it's our first date. We'll take it easy.
No,
See, that's funny. That's exactly how I referred to it. Cliff and I had, when Cliff interviewed me, I'm like, yeah, I treat first dates like interviews, and so that was my line.
One of the questions.
That was
actually.
mine going back to him. I'm like, all right, Cliff, so we're going on our date now. Welcome to the interview.
I did not see that one, so that was not copyrighted.
Oh man, hey, I'm gonna let you run this for a sec. I'm gonna go pee, and then when you need to go pee, I'll do my Star Trek Picard review.
Yeah, matter of fact, when you get back, you can do that. But, I know you told me where you currently work at the greenhouse. Is that like what would be a dream job of yours? Is that like a dream job scenario?
No, it's a building block. I'm trying to get in the marijuana industry.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm definitely not mad at you there. So now that brings up now you talked about a wrong turn before. I feel like now I have different sets of questions. Because you seem like a research guy, you know what I mean? I call you Mr. Statistics.
No, I try to be.
So let me stop. Let me stop here. How long have you been working at this current job, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, about a little over 2 years now.
Okay. So
I was in landscaping before this, and I got burned out on it.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: when you first got that job 2 years ago, was it because you knew that this would be your stepping stone into the marijuana industry, or is it just because that was what was open?
It was definitely premeditated, although I stumbled into a much better job than I probably should have gotten.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, greenhouse and landscaping are like it's like apples and oranges.
Right.
I mean, like planting the shit out in the wild, if you really want to get into the details of it, I can. But it's definitely not the same animal.
Right.
So,
Now,
I mean, I had managerial experience from the landscaping industry, and that was good, and that definitely helped me get my foot in the door, and I had a lot of good references. But, walking into a management position at a greenhouse, that was just kind of, stars aligning.
okay, and that's good. That's good shit. The only reason why I ask, I mean, there is a method to my madness. The only reason why I was asking you is because it was like, what would you, if you had to put a time frame on how long you see yourself continuing at your current position before you venture off into, say, your own dispensary, grow house type deal, what would you think the time frame would be on that?
That's kind of a open-ended question. I mean, it could be 5 years. It could be tomorrow.
Right. Right.
The right opportunity where that's one thing I've learned in the last I'm 34. And in the 14 years of adulthood, quote unquote, that I consider myself.
Right.
I've learned that you really you can have all the plans in the world.
Yeah, they don't ever go.
You really have to just walk the whatever path is laid in front of you and make whatever decisions are laid in front of you, and things are going to change. And I look back, it was an epiphany for me when I went back and read my high school senior ambitions thing. When I graduated high school or college. I'm sorry. So that was only 4 years. From when I graduated high school to when I graduated college. And the fucking path that I thought I would be on at 18 was nowhere near where I was at 22.
Right.
So, and that's what I, continually learn throughout my life is that you just gotta, work your ass off, have a general path, direction, north by northwest. And, you just roll with the punches, and shit's gonna happen. Yeah, I may not, even stay in the ag industry. Who knows? I may,
Right. Right.
veer off to another field.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know what your plans are. All I'm saying is I took botany in high school. That's it. That's all I'm
It's
saying here.
it's an interesting and challenging industry. It's always changing, and there's a lot of science involved to it. It's not just put water on the thing and it grows.
Right.
So and there's business. There's a lot of business that goes into it. It's markets changing constantly. And I majored in ag business, so I actually have zero technical training
So
in raising plants. I don't have a horticulture degree. I don't have a botany degree. I'm not a master gardener. Everything I've learned has been in the field.
okay. Okay.
Well, at the end of the day, though, isn't that? I mean, that's more practical, and I
book,
think it's
right.
better than
I
classroom.
really think it is because I have a kid working for me right now that's he's like 25, fresh grad, within the last couple of years, with a hort degree from Ohio State, and he's always coming up to me with these. We should do this. We should do that. And the practicality of what he's asking me to do is like, dude, yeah, that works in a
a
controlled
classroom.
laboratory setting, yeah. But in the real world, man, like I can't make that work. And so, we just you get, the learning how to do these things in the real world, you actually get a better handle on what's possible and what's not.
Yeah, I feel you in that. Like for me, I went to school for marketing and advertising, right? And I did interactive design, all that kind of stuff. Learning the technical skill that sits behind kind of ads and like marketing, price, product, promotion, all that doesn't mean shit. It's how well do you work with people.
Dude, one of my favorite books is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've read it 5
Yep.
times.
Yep.
And I continually I come back to it like every year or two, just to re-up because the principles in that book, and it was written
They
in
don't change. Yep.
1931, 1933, something like that. The principles of that book hold sway even today.
Absolutely, and I think that's when you find a good I don't know, nonfiction or I don't want to say self-help, but when you find a good business book like that, that's the thing is that they never go out of style, right?
Oh,
Like
that one's a staple. I mean, you can go, you can bring it more modern, go to like Tony Robbins, some people like that. They're all preaching the same ideologies, though.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole don't make me think desire, and to your point, the ability to influence, right? Like
Well,
that is.
I mean, it's really, it's helped me not only professionally but personally. I mean, some of the primary tenets of the book are, never criticize people,
Yeah.
no matter even if you're right, even if you're totally justified to do it. And I've used this over and over and over again, again, professionally and personally. Find a way to just work around that.
Right,
from
because
a
at the end
genuine
of the
place.
day, it doesn't buy you anything.
No, it doesn't. And again, it's easy to look at the tenets of those books and say this is a manipulation factor.
Right.
You learn how to work people. But if you actually come at it from a place of sincerity,
Well, it's sincerity, and it's always assume positive intent, right?
right?
And when you assume positive intent, you're not gonna call someone out for being wrong, right?
right. I mean, just it forces you, if you really, take it to heart, it forces you to just become a better person.
Right. Absolutely.
You just you're not so quick to judge. You're not so quick to, try to be right. It's something I struggle with because I'm one of those fucks that's, like before I read those things, like I'm always trying to be right.
Right. Hey, you're not the only one, Matt. I'll give you a little hint.
I struggle with it every single day. I always got to tell me. That's why I always, I find myself slipping, and then I go back and I'm like, all right, I got to read the book again.
Right. Well, and that's an interesting point because I tell you who I slip with the most on that kind of stuff, in the need to be right. is my significant other.
Right. Because she's a woman.
I'm telling you,
And it's not good.
Professionally, there's a lot of personal things that you got, like my own parents, my brother, like all my personal interactions. I am so justified to call them on things, but it's just like, dude, is this going to help me change their mind at all?
Right. At the end of the day, calling somebody on their shit is not going to get them on your side.
Well, it depends
and even
on what you're
going
doing
so
it
far
for,
as to
though.
apologize just for something that's not your fault.
Right.
Can really, it happened to me professionally just a month ago, where it was something that was totally not my fault, and it ended up a lot of people pissed off at me. But I apologize, even though I was totally justified to go in there and be like, "No, you fucked up. No, you fucked up."
Right. But at the end of the day,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it really did. It changed the dynamic of our relationships.
I mean, that's how I was raised. And that, like, so the way my mom was is if you were even put into the situation of blame, whether or not you did it or not, you were close enough to take responsibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I was around you and you did something, that was still my fault for being around you.
Yeah.
So if I get the same consequence or punishment as you, that's on me. I have to accept that responsibility.
Well, and honestly, at the same time, like that's been my whole path to success in my career. Like when I've fucked up, I've owned it and asked for forgiveness and help to solve.
Right.
And I think that showing, and that goes back to the vulnerability thing, right? I think that vulnerability in terms of being willing to ask for help, I think that naturally builds trust and naturally builds that ability to influence. Now, what I will tell you is, I am very quick to acknowledge small things, so I build that ability to influence, right?
Right.
To build that trust, like, yeah, I meant to send that email and I didn't. I fucked up. Like,
right.
I try not to make excuses for minute shit,
Right.
so that should anything big ever happen, they know that I had their best interest at heart the whole time.
I have no problem taking my licks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, so don't get me wrong. When I was a child, and this may be divulging a little bit too much about myself. When I was a child, everybody hated it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me, you weren't a bad kid like that to the point that you used to get in trouble for shit that we did.
That's a
you
fair
got in
point.
trouble for your friends' shit over your shit.
But I owned it.
But I mean,
Ray's right.
He kind of looks guilty.
Two fools agree.
But what I'm getting at is, as a child, you hate to come home. You hate to know you're in trouble.
Right.
So, and I can give a perfect example as well. The older I get, the older I got, I should say. But by the time I turned 18, I didn't give a fuck. If I did
no doubt there.
If I did something, because I felt like, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if I'm not going to jail, who's gonna discipline me? You know what I mean? Who's gonna show me I shouldn't do this?
That's not something you should do.
Exactly.
Right.
Nobody is. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost to the point that, and I have this conversation with her now because she's like, Cliff, when are you gonna get a woman? Never. Like, never. Like, I had to, like, and I love you to death.
Is this Jeannie you're talking about? Okay.
I love you to death, but I had to deal with your mouth for 18 years. I said by the time I turn 18, I'm not listening or doing anything I don't want to do. Nobody's going to make me do anything I don't want to do.
And guess what? Now, if you get married, you're going to have to do things you don't want to do.
Listen, by the time I get married, we'll be in
love you, Shar.
We'll be in Handmaiden's Tale. You hear what I'm saying? That's where we'll be at by the time Cliff gets married. He's not getting married anytime soon, so that's not an issue.
Speaking of things you do for love, I drove a car in a parade yesterday. Because my wife's school district, all the teachers went and did like a driving parade through their district to basically say hi to the kids and stuff. And we had the most fun car in the block.
I bet.
And I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw it when you pulled up. It may have washed off during the storms today, but like she had shit written all over her car. We had "We Miss You" written in big bold colors across the car. She had antlers coming off her car because that's part of her mascot. and we were bumping that Troll soundtrack. Let me tell you.
All right,
Hair up.
Listen.
A-Reg is sticking his head out the window, just screaming. Louis putting his head out the window, barking at every dog. Char was getting upset with Louis, and I'm like, you got to understand, he's just doing the same thing you're doing, love. You're sticking your head out, yelling at all your students and stuff. He's just sticking his head out and barking at all the dogs.
This also
hey guys, you're stuck in? You're stuck in? Yeah.
Gathering people all in one place.
What's that?
This sounds counterintuitive to not gathering everybody all in one place.
Everybody was all on their own lawn. It was only the family. Everybody was on. That's why it was a parade. Like, we literally zigzagged all through her district.
Goodness gracious. We know they passed Title IX or whatever in your school district.
Right.
Whatever the fuck that was. You got time to go out and ride through neighborhoods with all the kids waving like a parade.
That's the thing. So they treated last week was their spring break, so they didn't have anything. This week they treated it as calamity days, so snow days that didn't get used. And so next week is their first week of actual online learning. So they did it just to basically show the kids that they that they care about them, they miss them, etc.
I got the emails.
Nice.
I get emails and voicemails from Columbus, and I'm like, what the fuck are you calling me for? Like, call her mom. Like, call her mama. What are you fucking calling me for?
You're both on the emails. You're both on the phone numbers.
Listen, I called the mother of my child. Like, why?
You almost gave her up.
Like, why is Columbus Public School or Columbus Schools calling me? 'Cause your daughter goes. I said, well, give them her number. This is her education, not mine. The fuck? I'm playing. I only kid. But shit. Listen,
man.
I don't need the calls. What am I going to do? You tell me if she got on the wrong bus. Call me for that. I don't give a fuck about anything else. What the fuck?
Don't call me with the minutia bullshit.
Right. Listen, you know, man.
COVID plans.
Now, listen. Now, that I keep up to, because, you know, my baby has asthma. I keep very up to par with shit like that, because if something happens to mine.
Well, is she quarantined? Is she in? All right. So you and baby mom are all right there? Mm-hmm. You guys are on the same page? Mm-hmm. That's good. Glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stay safe out.
If not, something happened to my baby, this is Afghanistan. This is no longer United States. We are in a designated war zone. You hear what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what DeWine's been saying all week.
Well,
we are at war.
You gonna have to call the National Guard a lot sooner if something happened to my baby. That's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, shit. I'm interested to see where all this goes. You know, bring it back to the COVID.
Couldn't get away.
I mean, but what else do we have? You know what I mean?
Well, I told you, I got mine.
I'm with you guys right now is because of this shit.
Listen.
I told you, I can do my Picard review at any time. I finished watching it. I'm
actually interested to hear. The season's over?
Season's over.
Oh, I didn't want to hear it right now.
It was 10 episodes.
I didn't want to hear it right now.
It was 10 episodes.
I didn't want to hear it right now, though.
You motherfucker.
I wasn't opening that up for
you son of a bitch.
At the moment. I'd rather talk Corona.
That's fine.
I'm just playing.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm just playing. I just had to do you like that. I just had to. It was my opening.
No, Mike, I'm with you. I don't have cable anymore. I haven't for a long time, but I definitely want to see that show.
That's Disney Plus?
No, that's CBS All Access.
Okay.
So you got to have a subscription for it?
Yeah, it is a subscription. Although, no, CBS All Access just posted something that you can watch the entire season for free.
Because it popped up on my screen.
Yeah,
it popped up on my screen too.
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
Because I got a smart TV and it popped up.
Yep. So I think that they just did that. I think they're trying to pull in new subsubscribers.
As well as Pornhub.
You just pissed Becky off, man, because that just ruined my weekend.
Well, but never mind. I'm not going to go into it now. It's fine. When we're ready to talk about it, I'll talk about it. Matt, you might want to drop off for that portion because it might get a little spoilery.
What do you mean, the Picard
I
portion?
don't give a shit about spoilers.
All right. What?
You talking about the Picard portion?
Yeah.
Fuck it, sir. Like, at this point, I feel like, no homo. I feel like the woman in the bed when the guy's putting his dick on her butt. And you're finally like,
You just gonna let me stick it in?
Just what the fuck? Go ahead. What Picard?
See, and this is how I know Cliff isn't married.
God damn.
Because she's never just saying okay.
Handmaid's
Or maybe
Tale.
that's just me.
Handmaid's Tale.
You know, there are upsides to the Handmaid's Tale.
I only keep
Oh, God,
another
no,
Quaalude.
go
She
ahead.
love me in the morning.
I'm lucky that she doesn't listen to the show.
I'm really hoping that a lot of people don't tune into this.
Hey, you say tomato, I say entertainment.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. We get 35, 40 viewers a week.
Right.
We get that up to 100, we're going to be in business.
3 devout fans.
We have 4 that listen to us live. So.
Listen, and we need them up so I can start canceling people before the canceling trend is over. I'm trying to cancel Biden. I'm trying to cancel Trump. I'm trying to cancel all the politics everywhere. Join the Martian Party.
If you figure out a way to shut down Trump's Twitter account, please clue me in.
Listen, I don't think we should. I think that's one of the most entertaining thing. Did you see when she said I had a cough over the week? He said, "Whoa," and walked away. Did you not see that video?
I did.
I said he's a fucking comedian.
He thinks he is.
No, he is. He's the Dave Chappelle of presidents. Who's funnier?
I've heard this
Clinton?
argument many a time from a lot of different people.
Either Trump or Clinton. Those are the two.
At
Pick
this
it.
point, it's not funny anymore. It's fucking embarrassing.
No, I
The guy
get it.
just fucking.
I get it. But he's a troll too. So he
is a troll.
No,
So
he's a
it's-
troll and a half.
He knows it's embarrassing, but he doesn't
It's
care.
not even that I disagree with 100% of his politics. Like, I actually kind of like the way he's handled China with, trade disputes and things. But
I
like,
don't know enough to.
my
disagree.
standard for a president is just so much higher than this.
No,
fucking
right?
douche.
No, you are absolutely.
Well, you're
correct.
not. Yeah.
You are absolutely. No, I'm not saying that he's a good president. I'm just saying he's very fucking entertaining.
Oh, no.
He's a reality
I've never
TV
been.
star.
I mean, I've honestly never followed politics closer. To be honest, though, just
Dude,
because it's entertaining to watch. It's like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. He's Mary Poppin' the White House. This guy's Mary Poppin' the White House.
I liken it to watching Swamp People. Like I want to watch it for about 5 or 10 minutes just to see what they're gonna fucking say. But
Right.
after about 15 minutes, I'm just like, oh god,
I'm
change the
done.
channel.
I'm done.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not the kind of guy that's ever watched a full debate or a full press conference or a full. I don't care
A full
if it's
State of the
about.
Union.
It doesn't matter if it's a state of emergency. What's the
Which,
gist?
by the way,
Give me
what we've been in.
Give me the Cliff Notes. Where are the
I've
Cliff
watched
Notes,
every
ladies and
State of the
gentlemen?
Union. I've watched every fucking State of the Union since I was like 15 years old, and since 2016, I haven't caught one. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, and they're on every
I couldn't
channel.
sit down and
Right.
listen to
Listen,
that
you
jack
have to
talk about the State of the
work
Union.
to not watch any of those.
That's
You understand what I'm
true.
saying?
Because they're on all the basic cable channels.
You know what I mean? Like as soon as it's like
They're all the network
and then all of them
TV.
cut on, it's like, oh, gets Netflix. Oh, DVD time. Oh, put in a bootleg.
What are you gonna do when they start
Dude,
taking
have
over
you-
Netflix?
Have you seen Family
Bootlegs,
Guy's
DVDs?
fucking version of Donald Trump? That shit is hilarious.
You said Family Guy?
Spot on.
No.
Family Guy, yeah.
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I haven't watched Family Guy
They
in
got a
years.
whole show about it on Showtime called like
Dude,
What's it
My
called?
cartoon
Family Guy's
president.
Yeah.
interpretation of Donald hilarious.
I haven't seen that one. My favorite Trump in cartoons has been Mr. Garrison on South Park.
listen.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna fuck them in the ass till they're dead.
I don't know anything about that.
We're gonna fuck them to death.
No. Listen, I don't do
I
cartoons.
actually don't get to watch South Park as much as I'd like to.
I don't do cartoons
man.
in general.
I miss that show.
South Park, I haven't watched much of this past season, but up until this year, I made it a point just to watch it just because I think it's still funny to me. It's still funny to me.
It's a brilliant show.
You know what's
it's very
crazy?
and the thing is, and they called themselves out on it, is the fact that it's gotten so satirical that like it takes itself too seriously. But then they did a whole episode where they basically like said that no, we know we take ourselves too seriously. This is fucked up. But where it turned for me was this season they did a school, and maybe it was last season, they did a school shooting episode, and Char was not happening. So I had to turn that one.
No,
off.
that's the brilliance of the show.
But I get it though.
They cross every line.
I get it.
They
do.
make no apologies.
I get
No,
it.
that's exactly what they do. Is they cross every line and make no apologies.
I get it. Don't get me
It's
wrong.
fantastic.
I get it. I'm just
Love
not.
it.
I'm not a fan. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like and I like over the top shit, like shock value shit.
Yeah.
Gets me, but I just.
That just didn't do it.
I don't even like I don't do Family Guy. I don't do Simpsons. I don't do
Family Guy I haven't done for years. Like South Park still kept me in it, but
I mean, as a child though.
Family Guy has had its up and downs. You know, I mean, it was on, it was off, it was on, it's off. You know, but they nailed Trump.
My grandma.
I'll give them points for that.
I'm gonna have to look it up now just to see that.
My grandma used to
Dude,
tell me my
just-
grandfather
it's on
watched more
YouTube. Check it
cartoons
out.
than I did. If it was not sports,
Yeah.
if all I had was football DVD or VHS tapes of the like greatest hits or greatest football moments, or I knew everybody from 80s football up through before I was in high school.
See, you
By
be
the time
good
I
at-
high school, I was like, I don't care about y'all. I don't like. I'm doing my thing now. Like,
Right. I hear you.
like there's vagina and marijuana. Like, what do I need?
There's vagina, weed, and sports.
You
That's
know
all I
what I
need.
mean?
Thanks.
What? What are you talking about? I don't need any of
Hey,
this.
it's the simple things in life.
You're not wrong.
And right now, sir, you're
No.
cultivating a lot of them.
Oh man.
Okay, Picard, where we at, Picard?
I'm not worried about it. I'll do my own. I'll bring back one fool's opinion for one show only.
Listen, I was actually interested, but what I
Were you?
semi? Put it like this: if you talked about it, I had a question.
Okay.
If that meant it.
All right. That's a fair
If
point.
that, I mean, that's interest in my book.
That's
Because you know me, I'll
that's the
troll
most
you if I don't want to be involved.
Trust me.
Okay, Mike,
Yo.
let me watch it this weekend, and we will readdress next week if I'm allowed back on.
Of course.
Is Matt gonna be allowed back on?
What are
I have
you
to tell
talking
you.
about?
I have to tell you because you're on right now. I've gotten 2 different texts from 2 different people about asking if they can be on the show via Skype.
Oh, really? I thought we talked about that. You said we couldn't do it before.
Well, guess what? Now
But
we
it must be
can,
part of
and they
the
know we can, so they're like, "Let me on."
Well, if Matt wants to come back next week, your book afterwards jumps because you texted the wrong guy.
I feel that
no,
more
except
than 3 people would be chaotic.
right, no doubt. Well, and Cliff's over here acting a
Without
fool
being
in
in
terms of
person.
is acting a fool in terms of he's saying text him. He doesn't manage the technology.
I wouldn't give a
He
fuck
can't
anyway.
figure this shit
I wouldn't
out.
respond to you even if you did.
I'm trying to help him set up his own at his house, and
Oh,
he doesn't know what the fuck
And
he's
gonna
doing.
have to come over and
I'm
do
gonna
it
have right.
for me. Like, not tell me what to do. He's gonna have to do it.
I'm gonna have to
for
do
me.
it for you and be like, you click this. I'm gonna
Right.
take pictures for him. I'll be like, you click this button,
Right.
and then you make sure this is plugged in. And if it doesn't turn on, you have to unplug it, replug it back in.
If my feed goes out, then that's the episode.
That's
for
it.
the week,
That's
son.
it.
I guess you got a 15-minute episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Meanwhile, we lost the show, and we have come back, and we are good. We're an hour and 15 in on the second stream. So I know what it was. It was adding the intro video.
We can get it right though.
No,
God
once
damn
the
it.
once the intro video. Well, first of all, I need to cut it down. But second of
No
all,
good deed goes unpunished. Try
Once
to give people something and
right,
pay for
right. It's fucked up.
You got to make it like 15 seconds, man. You gotta quick.
More than
It
15,
has to
but
be
I
at least
hear
45.
you. I think it's 30 to 45 is probably the right number.
I wouldn't say at least, but yeah.
It's probably right.
Here I
a
am
minute
telling you guys
tops.
how to run your show. Do it.
Yeah,
however
fuck you,
want.
Matt. Run your own show.
Right, if I recall correctly, you were hoping people weren't watching when we were talking real wild and reckless. That's when I hope people watch the most.
I want to point out that Matt didn't even reach out to me. So Matt talked to his dad about how he was interested in maybe being on the show, and his dad talked to my mom. My mom talked to me.
So Matt did text the right people, ladies
He did.
and gentlemen.
It wasn't
And
me.
clearly, hey, make connections happen.
So text Mike's mom if you wanna.
Right.
You're gonna have to hire her.
Right. If you've got her number, go ahead and text her because you'll be on first.
Right.
That's how you put the pressure on.
No, but
Right.
for real. All right,
Right.
but for real. Part of the reason why, so we haven't had a ton of guests other than people that have been at the house, right? So that was actually it. Like, I don't think we've had anybody come by except for Tony, which, by the way, quick pause. The new cartoon artwork from Tony, fucking love it.
I love
it.
it
is
too.
fire.
I love it too.
And he's working
He did
on a
good,
new
but-
logo for us.
You
He's
ain't
working
see
for
it?
new channel art.
He sent it.
Yeah, no, I saw the.
Oh,
I
okay.
saw it before you did.
I know. I saw
I
it on your
I
phone.
get first review.
Well, no, it's a group post, so we get it at the same time.
No, he sent it to me first, and then he sent it to the group.
Oh, fuck you, Tony.
Which, in fairness, I think he actually did mean to send it to us both at the same time. He just clicked the wrong one.
Fuck you, Tony. That's all love, baby. I love you, baby.
So the new artwork is fire. Appreciate it, Tony.
It is.
Your check's in the
You did
mail
that?
once we get the channel art.
Short him $5.
Clip says Doc you $5.
Short him $5 for timeliness of filing.
Out of the 6.
God damn it! What were we talking about before, Tony? I got sidetracked. Oh, people that have been on the show. So my cousin who was staying with us was on the show.
My cousin.
Melissa,
That's my cousin.
who was staying with us, was on the show. And then Tony came by because he wanted to get a feel for the show live and in person.
That was a good show, though.
That was, well,
You were pretty smacked.
I
by
was
the
pretty
end of
fucked up in that show.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
That's all you meant. That's all he kept saying. You're not wrong.
And then hiccuping.
Like this, with his eyes closed up. Like this. You're not wrong.
And by the way, you're not wrong there either.
Listen. And I told him, I don't know if you
we're
guys...
gonna do shirts.
I don't know. Right. I don't know if you guys did we talk about this on the podcast where I said I'm going to get you back for that? Now that means I get one drunk moment as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And mine was next week, ladies and gentlemen, because I do not waste time. I'm going to get you immediately. So, I don't even know what episodes those were.
7 and 8. 7 and 8. I think it was 7 and 8.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Because I think 9 was no, it was 6 and 7. No, it was 7 and 8. No, because last week was Corona. So it had to be 6 and 7.
Every week's Corona.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is that was pre-Corona. That was pre-Corona. That's my point.
Pre-Corona.
It's gonna be a topic.
Oh, it definitely was pre-Corona for us to have 2 guests in one area.
Right. So right, because you and I are about 4.5,
and then
5 feet away.
And then after the podcast, we drank and whatever else. Yeah, no, that was definitely spreading the virus if it was around then.
Right, no doubt. I am pleasantly surprised though with how well the Skype has been coming through, and I actually texted 2 or 3 people during the show and said, hey, how are the volumes coming through? Everybody said it was good.
I just wish that everyone could see this handsome devil.
He is a handsome gentleman.
You know what I mean?
Is.
Like, why is it that we can't?
I don't know
get
that he
to
wants his
know
face
us?
out there, though.
Oh, he does. He has his own podcast. Drop the name, sir.
Oh no, that's just done.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Used to.
No.
Used to.
I had a podcast a long time ago,
Well,
but
we might have to get
then
some
he had
things
kids.
rolling.
no. It was actually it wasn't even a falling out between us. It was a falling out between his girlfriend and my wife.
Well, we might have to get some things rolling. You might have to be a repetitive feature guest.
Absolutely. So we've got two. We've got what? We've got now two that we could have repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matt and Tony, and
You know,
unfortunately Tony doesn't talk a lot.
You know, right, and you know you can't
He's a
rely
silent
on
guest.
any of my people. My people will lead the podcast themselves, but you can't rely on them.
You can't trust that they'll actually be there.
Face won't be here. You won't. When do you get them?
Face,
motherfucker, you. I hope you got your finger in some bad pussy right now.
You shouldn't talk about her like that.
And I hope you smell it. And I hope you smell it tomorrow morning after you wash your hands and everything. And then I hope it stops your nose up and you think you got the Rona.
Yeah, definitely don't.
No,
Don't
man.
tag me on this, motherfucker.
Right.
We don't tag. It's fine. And like I said, we only have 30 or 40 guests a week. Or views a week.
Listen, I say it every week. I don't give a fuck.
Which, by the way, have you listened to the podcast version?
Not recently. I listen to.
You should listen. You should listen to it just to give me feedback on the ad, since you and I never did it together.
Oh, you got ads?
I did the ad. I did the Anchor ad. So listen to it at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and we can re-record it when you don't like it.
Right. That's what's.
I downloaded it on what is it, Apple Podcasts?
That's what I do.
There were no ads.
Really?
That's because I just got it going last week, I think.
Okay.
So it'd be this
That
week
might
that
be
we
why.
would hear the ads.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Although I think I went back and added the sponsored segment
You
to
said
every
that,
episode.
it was a couple weeks ago.
Is
you
it
said
an
we
ad
needed to
from
record
fucking
it.
YouPorn about COVID porn?
No, it's for so we use Anchor to distribute our podcast, and so Anchor it's basically doing an ad for Anchor, but the CPM's like $15 per.
But
1,000
Anchor,
views.
if you'd like to add porn into your repertoire, we'd be happy to. We'd be happy to market that for you as well.
Let's reach out to Pornhub and see if they want to do something for Anchor. That's actually the reason why we went with them, is because they do free hosting, free distribution, and monetization without a minimum viewership. So basically, you can host and distribute the podcast to all the major networks and stuff for free. And so that was the big thing. And I know I'm reading the ad right now,
basically
but
shit. Anchor.
Exactly.
We were just posting our shit on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, for
Well,
real?
I mean, that's where we started, was just YouTube. But then I figured out, well, first I think, especially when you get into the long form content, I don't know, people aren't as adept to use YouTube for that. Like I always do, but
Well, my whole thing is when I'm at work, I can't watch my phone. I can listen to my phone, but I can't watch my phone.
But that's the thing. You can have your phone on and just listen to it when it's on YouTube.
But if I flip it over on YouTube,
Actually,
it closes.
Does it
because-
close?
Right. And if I leave it open, it looks like I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword. I have to go through the podcast at work
I hear
and
you.
watch it at home.
All right. That makes sense. Go ahead,
This
Matt.
sounds way better. But no, like this is so much more streamlined. Like there was a lot. Like when we were doing our podcast, it was back in like 2014.
Oh, okay. What was it
And
about?
it was just like a lot of work. A lot of work getting that shit online.
Right.
No, our thing was a lot of, I dropped a lot of money for, well, not a lot. I dropped a decent amount for equipment. My biggest expense was the computer.
There's a minor upfront cost, you know.
He dropped a lot to me, a little to him.
I dropped a decent amount on the actual equipment for the podcast outside of the computer. The flip side of that is the cameras were only like $50 a pop.
Right.
These two
And we had
microphones,
a lot of
we
the
had
shit,
all these
right.
microphones. The mixer was another probably 75, 85.
So it's
Right?
what,
Yeah, it's not a terrible amount
So
of
it's
money.
200, 300 outside of the computer. The problem was I got the computer.
Right. Well, I got to get the computer too
Yeah.
for when we.
When you want to do your own
Right.
show without me, you son of a bitch.
It ain't even about that. It's not even. Well, it's all going to be on the Foolproof Network. Sir.
That's true. You're gonna all upload it to our page, right?
Yeah.
You guys will have your own playlist. But yes.
What's that?
So the way I've got the
like as far as the
right. So you'll have we'll have some Foolproof Entertainment Network like kind of host video, and then we'll have Do Fools Agree because that's our flagship.
I'm gonna keep the same little jump off you got. I just need you to change colors like you did before.
With the One Fool's Opinion.
How you did it blue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just change colors, make mine a different color.
And
like
we can use the same.
Black
we can use the same layouts. That's fine. That's easy enough.
And then I'll contact Anthony and have him make me a doodle.
Cool.
It'll be one with my cock out and my balls hanging.
You can pay him the same way I'm paying him.
Yeah. Got to.
Tony, my man.
It just wouldn't be right if it.
You know, gotta have all that.
Well, that's my whole thing. Like, I like just being able to talk about.
But at this point, I mean, let's be honest though. If we're really doing this the way we're doing this, and we've known each other for our whole life, so I know the way you see this being done. Best bet would be recruiting.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you feel like you could do a podcast on your own by yourself, Matt. That would be lovely to have added to the Foolproof Network as well, if that was something you were interested in.
I like that you're selling him on the line.
You know what I mean? Let's do this live so everybody understands.
My biggest problem is, the dynamic I had. The thing that made it work for me back then was the guy I was doing it with was he was a pretty hardcore conservative and I was pretty hardcore progressive.
Right. Okay.
And the fact that we were really good friends for a while there, but we clashed on our ideologies completely, and just that was what made it work.
It sounds like he had the thing that you and I talked about early on in our shows, is that you and I have enough differing views and we come from enough of the differing places that it works.
Right.
Right. No, that's been my biggest problem is that, I have so many friends that it's like I agree with them too much.
Right.
Or I have, other friends where it's just like...
it's the echo chamber thing.
No, I get exactly what you mean.
When you get into that echo chamber, it's not entertaining. People don't want to listen to it.
You want to have a good back and forth.
Right.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. But that's not to say that, let's be honest. If we really do this right, we could have a whole work from home database. Right, say, hey Matt, what you got going on Saturday? You ain't got nothing. Well, you want to hop on for an hour? We can Skype together and do a podcast.
That's my thing with the shows that I listen to. Right, we've talked about S1E10, we've talked about Movie Trivia Schmodown, all that. S1E10's a daily show that's doing basically.
I would like to have content.
Basically, the format that we're doing here, but it's daily, and I'm not saying that you and I could do daily.
Boxing Rec is.
But I'm not saying you and I could do daily, but if
we had people.
Right. But if you had a network of 3 or 4 people and it was all getting posted to the same place, okay, fine. Maybe some people only listen to the Friday show. But then maybe they listen to the Tuesday show that they weren't expecting.
Right.
And they start liking that. That's my philosophy with this stuff.
What it comes down to is, and this is... don't get me wrong, I love these 2 podcasts. I just hate name-dropping other people's podcasts for some reason. The Brilliant Idiots and Flagrant 2 was the perfect example. You came out with one. Once one popped off enough, you dropped your own with a completely new set of people.
Yeah.
And they intertwine. They relate. These people will come to this show. This show will
come
to this show.
Absolutely.
And it seems like it's something special. But in all actuality, we all fucking work together. So it's not a shock to see me on this show or that on that show. But you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so's on the episode of, you know what I mean, to get you hyped.
That's the whole thing with the Collider Live crew. So there were probably 5 or 6 people that were guest spots on that show, that network.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically, Collider shut everything down. And now all 5 or 6 of those people have split off and are doing their own thing now.
Like Barstool Sports.
Right, but they're all appearing on each other's shit.
Right. Not quite like Barstool Sports.
The flip side of it is, where I think S1E10 is fucking things up, is all 5... S1E10 is the Schmodown Entertainment Network.
That's the name. That's like our full
Christian.
Yep. Okay.
So Christian Harloff, where he is not, and it's not.
I looked it up.
It's not necessarily on him, but where he is fucking up, or where he could have done better, was to get all of the people that basically got dropped by Collider Live and have them all post their shows on his shit, instead of it being everywhere. Right, have your own show, but let's build our own network.
That's what I mean by recruiting. Like, you could have your own show. Now, you just don't have the...
And guess what?
Bring it over here. We can all...
And maybe that's something where, like, if we can say, you rent out equipment, or, hey, we've got a wide-shot camera that works about 50% of the time.
No, not even. Have your own shit.
Right. But what I'm saying is to basically say, stay on our network versus going out and do... Like, once you have your own shit... chances are you probably go out and do your own thing.
Right. That's that capitalist in you, sir.
I mean, you ain't wrong. I'm looking to make that money, baby.
I'm not mad at you.
Go ahead, Matt.
Since 2010, I've been pretty regularly listening to podcasts, and at least in my opinion, the best ones are the ones that they launch organically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Like, don't force it. Like, if you have a personality,
love
you
Rogan.
talk about people
Rogan's
like it.
my guy.
Well, and that was kind of the thing with Cliff and I. Like, Cliff and I started talking about this, probably back in October, maybe earlier. Maybe as early as,
we talked about it last year sometime.
It was definitely last year. And then...
we didn't get it popping until January.
Because I needed time to pick up equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Shit.
And I had
That's
football.
really what it is I want to be able to get this popping enough, whether it be working with you, Matt, or whomever else.
So that you can keep it going during football.
Comes, I have enough people I can contact to be like, hey, so-and-so can't make it this week. Can you do the show with me? What's going on?
Well, and I think I'm with you there. Like, that's kind of the same thing where I'm getting. Like, my biggest thing is I don't want the show to suffer if you or I can't make it.
It can't.
Like, it would just be swap somebody in. And yes, your main hosts are you and I. No matter what happens, you and I are the two staples.
Right.
But if we hit a week or two where, like, you got to miss or I got to miss, that can't be an issue for the show.
Shit. Fuck. Let's be honest. If both of us got to miss.
Right. But
we got to at least have two people that can still
But at that point,
together.
we've got to have introduced people enough and had them on enough time. Like, right now, we haven't had any repeat guests.
Right.
Matt.
He will be.
You are welcome to be a repeat guest. At least at this point.
Who knows? Next week, I may say some silly shit.
And then he might, or he might start his own show again and then say, fuck both of you. I like doing this, now I'm doing
Matt,
my own shit.
Listen, Matt, you're not a politician. You're a planner. You can say some silly shit.
Hey,
plants grow regardless of how potty your mouth is all I'm saying.
Can you take this for a minute? That was one of the things that, like 2020 hindsight, dropping out when I did, it wasn't intentional, but at the same time, right up until this, coronavirus thing started hitting, we were in a big fucking cancel culture of if you say the wrong thing online, that's your ass.
That's why I'm trying to boost up my following so I can cancel motherfuckers. I'm trying to cancel some motherfuckers.
Well, no, I'm saying the real world.
I joke, but
like if you say the wrong thing, like I got off of Facebook about 3 years ago, and it was because I was starting to get a lot of flack for things I was posting on there, and I thought they were pretty, innocuous, not that crazy things to say. But people were getting so fucking sensitive about anything that you say online anymore.
Well, let me explain something to you, Matt. Matt, let me retract that. Let me explain something to you, Matthew, okay. Because I want you to understand what
you gotta be proper.
Right. If you're coming on the Foolproof Entertainment platform, trust and believe, everybody knows me. Like, as far as people that listen, I almost had my boss follow our podcast, is how I am.
That would be a terrible idea.
I don't think that it would. The only reason why I did is because I didn't want to incriminate them.
I don't want my boss listening to this shit, man.
I didn't want to incriminate my boss is the only reason why I didn't have that happen. I talk the exact same way I'm talking to you guys here to my boss.
I hear you. I'm actually the same way at work too.
And she's a lady. But I mean, doors closed in the
I
office,
work
of
with
course.
a lot of really
But
people,
Right.
man.
and I'm not
They
being
wouldn't
inappropriate.
understand a lot
I'm
of
just
things I'm
gonna
talking
be
about.
myself regardless. I don't care how you feel. And I've come out my mouth and said, listen, if y'all want to let me go, that's absolutely fine. Just do it today before my shift starts, so I can go home and file my unemployment. I have no
Let me
problem
get
with
that
you.
in.
No problem with you letting me go. I will be okay. Trust and believe that. But don't fuck me and make me work this whole day.
No, I mean,
You don't want that last day's worth of pay?
I have to be able to make it to the unemployment office, right?
Well, no,
All
seriously,
right. Fair enough.
when we were on our podcast back in, like 2013, 14, the biggest problem we had, because we were trying to get guests on, was it's hard to actually get people to sit down and put their views online to the public.
Well, yeah, no, some people are, a little timid, a little.
I mean, everybody that I wanted to bring on, like I always try to get, intellectuals on, but they're always hesitant.
Because they don't want to risk saying something.
Right.
And I tell you what,
Right.
I've been that way in the past too, but I've kind of loosened up with it.
You have to, because it's like what.
If you're gonna fire me about my beliefs or
Right.
about something that I say outright, then fire me.
Let's be honest.
I mean, no, and that's the crazy bit is that in 2013-14, it was pretty unprecedented. Nowadays,
Right. Now everybody's got a
every
big
fucking
podcast.
day.
Right.
Every fucking day, a woman posted something on Twitter, and this was like 2017. I forget her name, but she posted something stupid on Twitter. She'd had a couple of drinks and an Ambien.
Oh,
And,
Roseanne.
before she got on a plane to go to Hong Kong, by the time she woke up, like her fucking career was done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it. I get why people are upset, but
Cliff's out here trying to cancel people.
Don't
so.
don't do Roseanne like that.
He's
though.
going the other.
Don't do Miss Barr like that, though. You understand what I'm saying? It'd be different if it was somebody with 3 strikes, okay? You know what I'm saying? What I'm getting at?
You gotta get through your strikes.
Don't get me wrong. She was speaking about that specific lady. Maybe she looked like a fucking monkey. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's different. It's not like she said every black person looks like a monkey. This bitch might have looked gorillas. She might have looked Planet of the Apes. That's all I'm saying. Caesar, help us. That's all I'm getting at. So why are we canceling Roseanne?
Apes
and then
together, strong.
And then she said she didn't know she was black.
Hoping that you guys don't actually start getting more than 100 people watching this, because you are fucked.
You know, it is what it is. I might actually be looking for a new job soon.
Listen,
so.
I usually job hop about
I might be doing my own thing now.
Listen, I usually job hop about every 2 years. I've been in my current job for 2.5, so that says I'm overdue, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get flagrant.
If people in LA can do nothing but host podcast shit, why can't we?
We can. We just haven't
podcast is global.
done that on the East Coast like that. We haven't.
Well, we're not even East Coast, Midwest, baby.
Right.
If you can somehow find a way to
I'll be right
like
back.
I'm not saying not even everybody's going to be even close to like Joe Rogan successful, but you got to find a way to have like an alternate form of income. So if you do get canceled, either professionally or online, you have some way of keeping the money
something to fall back on. I think that's actually the part that my thought with all of this is, so trying to get on the ground floor in terms of when television came out. Okay, it started off national, right? And then it went to regional, and then it went to local. Podcasts right now are very national. There's not a lot of regional podcasts. I want to be the regional king of podcasts in 20 years, 15 years, whatever the case is.
Own Columbus.
I want to own the Columbus market when it comes to podcasts. Now, I'm nowhere near that because I actually know a couple of people that have much better numbers than we do, but they're not talking about the stuff we're talking about. They're talking about, whether it's charity work or it's a little bit more individual. Like, we are very much a pop culture current events type show. We are talk radio for the Columbus area. The other podcasts that I've seen aren't doing that. And so that was kind of my vision for wanting to get this thing going. And honestly, there are. I've got enough people that own like small businesses in the Columbus area that I'm like, come on, talk about your business, but understand we might get a little nutty during it, like. But we'll help you do your own video ad coming out of it.
Well, that's the going back. I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan. It was the first podcast I started listening to back in 2010, and I've kind of fallen off with Joe Rogan. I still like him and all, but I'm more listening, tune in for the guests than Joe. But
which is what I think most people do, by the way.
I think that there's an understanding that a lot of people that come on there have is that it is your responsibility. Joe is going to talk about whatever the fuck he's going to talk about.
Right. It's your job to direct the conversation.
As the guest to zip it up whenever the fuck he's into strange waters.
Right. You're not wrong on that. I mean that's what it is with Joe. Like Joe's guests are responsible for getting him back on track.
Who, Rogan?
And basically bringing their point of view to the show, not necessarily waiting for Joe to lead them in.
Yeah, no, Joe doesn't do that.
Right.
No, and he's grown a lot. Like, again, I listened to the guy for almost a decade now.
Right.
And he's not the same dude he was, 10 years ago.
Right. He didn't even have hair anymore.
I mean, there's a reason why he's like top 5 podcasts in the world.
True.
Shit.
Because he does a good interview.
Is he not number 1?
I don't know if he's number 1. I haven't looked at the stats lately, but I know he's fucking up there.
You are Mr. Statistic. I mean, listen. They say he's the podcast godfather. I agree.
No, he's not the godfather. Apparently, Adam Carolla is the godfather.
No, I do know. Yeah, but he didn't take off like Joe. Cut it.
Yeah, I mean, every single person. He just had Adam Curry on. 3 weeks ago, something like that. Adam Curry invented podcasts.
Adam Curry, yeah, but she didn't. Well, I thought Tom Green did. To be
honest.
And
even Adam Curry was like in awe of what Joe had created.
If we're
everybody
being honest, I thought Tom Green did, because remember after that Tom Green show, he had that talk show that was only online, and MTV tried to buy it, and it didn't do good as the Tom Green show, so they canceled it.
But where is Tom Green now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where's Joe Rogan now? That's why I feel like he's the godfather. Who gives a fuck who did it first?
First, right.
Who
made it? Who's the king?
He wasn't the original. He's not,
right.
Blanking on it. But yeah, no. He definitely took the ball, ran with it in a different direction, and everybody's trying to copy it now.
Definitely. And that's exactly what it is, to be honest. So it's exactly, they even have to have their little Jamies on the side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're not, yeah.
Hey, you know what? And if you want to have a podcast, you do need a fucking Jamie
you're right.
Fact check you on the fly.
You are absolutely correct.
That's what we need on this show.
Well, the reason why we put fools in the title
is true. So nobody has to fact check us, because guess what? We said we're fools from the start. Fact check is right. If you don't believe, if we say something that's not right, guess what? It's in the title of the show, motherfucker.
Listen, it's a chat. It's a live chat. Call us out on the show.
And we do a decent job of checking out the live chat. Which, by the way, I missed 2. I missed 2 because I said that.
After he just says.
Hence the need for a Jamie.
Right.
So the Rita said, smart not to trust people. Oh, that's a ways back. That was from the beginning.
Oh, right.
And then she called me out as tech support, which, by the way, I've been playing tech support all fucking week for my wife, who's starting like digital education.
In general. Listen, Mike is so concerned about his job. If they fired him tomorrow, God forbid, this man, there's no way he wouldn't have a job in tech support somewhere. Listen, do you know
I have a good fallback position.
Do you know what tech
support
support does at my job?
What do? They Google it while they're standing there.
Hello, can I please have your first and last name? Can I have your location? Can you give me a good callback number? Okay, and what's the issue that you're having? Have you tried restarting your computer? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
That solves 90% of issues, though.
I can't help you. I'll escalate this to another department. What the fuck? fuck?
I could be a supervisor
Isn't
there.
that-
That's what I tell them every day. I say,
Number one
listen,
tech
when
support
are y'all gonna open up a spot in tech support? Because they're not good for shit.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I had nothing.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say something. My
Yeah,
fault.
fuck that. Listen.
No, I mean, I'm gonna say that the number one question about tech support is it plugged in?
Right.
Right.
Is it an ID 10T?
Is it turned on? ID 10T? That's right. The idiot error.
Right. Is it an ID?
The fucking brutal reality of that question is, like, I don't know what percentage it is, but a decent percentage says, "Oh fuck, it's not plugged in."
Right. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask you.
You know what though?
That's
you
my
know
whole
what,
thing
though?
with
You know what,
instructions.
though? You know what?
Instructions
I
and
just
warnings.
had
If they didn't
I
already
just had
have
my
the
tech
issue.
guru guy. I just had my tech guru guy in, for our company, just yesterday, and he was telling me about some scenario where some lady was trying to get this thing going, and she was like, "I don't know why it's not working." She had the fucking power strip. She had everything plugged into the power strip, but she had the power strip plugged into the power strip.
No, that's
It's
ignorant.
not a self-sustaining form of power.
Listen. I can't talk shit because I just had to go pick my desk up this week. Full desk though, not like a laptop, not like what you got going on over there, laptop and then desktop.
Oh, because I have my
both,
own monitor.
Right, I got
yeah.
both my screens, CPU, all that jazz. So pick up all my shit. Going to work. First of all,
Which, by the way, with the laptop's actually harder because you got to account for the
That's why
dock and
right.
everything else.
That's why I said, yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, yours is definitely worse than mine. But why I say that because I went and picked up everything from my desk, like everything, like even the Ethernet cable from my phone to my everything.
Yep.
So I go and pick it up. Mind you, I'm a little on edge because of the fucking virus, and my job is just not the best at sanitization.
Okay.
I guess you could say. Now they did in their defense, they did cut back a lot of the people that were in there, so that was a plus.
Good.
But I still don't trust them. So I was going
Fair.
in there like it's a robbery. I'm about to rob these people for a computer. I'm going in, I'm taking my shit, and I'm getting out as fast as I can before anybody even knows that I'm there. So I do that, right? And I'm conversating because there's this lady that sits across from me. Love her to death. She's an older lady. We converse all the time. And I'm telling her, like, listen, now you know me, so I'm going to triple check this bag to make sure I have everything I need before I go home because I do not want to come back up here.
Right.
She's just laughing at me. Go home. Now, I triple checked it. Even while I'm talking to her. Like, she's looking over the cube while we're talking, and I'm triple checking it. I go home. Everything. I have everything I need. Computer won't turn on.
Oh, no. Did you forget the power cord?
To the CPU, though. Like, the cord was this thick. Like, this thick. And the funny thing is it was, like, stuck. Like, you have your cubicles? Yes. It was stuck between the counter of where my...
Yeah, right.
And
the wall of the
so
cube.
It didn't fall down for me to see it. So I had to take another drive. Another half an hour drive. Corona. So 25 minutes, no traffic. Back to Hilliard to go get my shit. To come back home to not even be able to finish my work because it's already 12 o'clock at this point.
You know what I want to call out on this?
I woke up at 6:45, sir.
Yeah,
Didn't start working until
I'm doing
1
that anyways.
something.
You know what I love about this whole pandemic situation, though? Is that I've had like 3 boxes of miscellaneous cords
That
for
you
probably
can use
for probably 10 years.
Now, did you know?
And everybody want to give me shit about the fact that I hold on to all these cords.
No.
Guess what?
No.
I have used so many fucking cords from that box
I learned that from you.
over the last 2 weeks.
I learned that from you.
All y'all.
Did you
I
notice?
got cords for every fucking thing.
Did you notice that when I said the power cord to the CPU, I did my fingers like this? Because it wasn't the one with the white ring around it. It was the one with the five little dots. I went to that box that I learned from, and I'm like, I know I have a CPU power cord in here. Nothing.
I tell you what. Well, and obviously with the podcast and everything, I bought a couple of USB extension cables.
Right.
But 90% of what I've needed over the last 2 weeks, guess what? We're in those boxes
and
down in the basement.
that is usually how it is, too.
And guess what? Everybody told me, like, why do you keep these? Why you hold on? Because I know I will fucking need them at some point.
Guys hoard different shit. Like video game wires, tools, condoms, what are those car things? The things you put tire pressure checkers. Guys hoard shit like that. Girls hoard shit that'll never come up again.
And this is where I'm going to say it again. You're not wrong.
Listen.
One of these days, by the way, I'm going to figure out how to put Matt on the video, but I got nothing.
Yeah, we need to.
Well, you know what? At some point, once they let up the restrictions, he can just come and be in the show with us.
Listen, I don't mind him
You're
being
10 miles away.
And I want to explain it too, because I don't want to be the scary guy on the podcast. You understand what I'm saying? I want to explain that the only reason why I had concern is because I have.
And by the way, you're not wrong.
I have someone with a compromised immune system in my house. They have sickle cell, so any little thing will get them sick. It's over. And if they
I didn't know that when I said I'm okay with him coming over.
Right.
So.
I'm not worried about myself because, as you said, I don't really have breathing problems.
No worries, man. No worries at all. Like, seriously, I'm high risk, man. I'm still going out in public.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I'm gonna keep you in my prayers for sure, because that is rough. Because we honestly, the bottom line is we don't know what to expect.
I'm one of those fortunate few that I never get sick. Like,
that's how I am too.
I am too.
And you know what's funny about that? I'm not even gonna speak on it.
My wife has been sick like 4 times this year, and I still haven't had it.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna speak on it.
We sleep in the same bed. I have sex every fucking night.
No, fuck it. I'm gonna speak on it.
I don't understand it.
No, I'm with you, dude. Like, I am similar to what Cliff is saying. Like, I get sick once every 4 or 5 years.
That's about how it is.
And when I get sick, though, I'm down. I am down for 3 or 4 days.
That's how it is.
No.
But outside of that, I'm fine.
Haven't had a flu shot.
I get it. I'm down.
Since before my daughter was born.
I'm with you. Like
10 years.
I actually refused to get a flu shot.
10 years.
Because the one time I did it.
Count how many times I've had the flu. Twice in 10 years.
My thing is, over the last 10 years, I've gotten the flu shot once, sickest I've ever been.
Oh, always.
And so I'm like, no, I'm not.
Always,
I'm not doing
always.
it.
And that way, it wasn't even me. Like, I was like making some smart move not to get the flu shot anymore. No, they just find out one year, our lovely medical system. Oh, you're allergic to eggs? Well, you shouldn't be getting flu shots. Well, dumb bitch, I've been getting flu shots for the past 17 years, and you're just now telling me I shouldn't be getting them because of eggs on my record that you've had for 17 years.
That's why you don't get the flu shot at the CVS, goddammit.
He's absolutely correct. Beep, beep, beep. You got the correct answer, sir. That was exactly where he was. I could even give you the location. It was the one not too far from you, my good sir.
The one on Livingston or the one in Bexley?
In Bexley.
All right.
Yep. And that's probably why they caught it, because it was the one in Bexley, and they were like, oh, he's allergic to eggs. I've been going to one in Livingston for all these years. And like, fuck him and his scrambled allergies. Give him the fucking shot.
Because they've got that record there at the pharmacy.
That shit's crazy,
man.
That shit's crazy.
Wait, though. I gotta try this out to see if it works, because I downloaded this a while ago and I haven't done it.
What?
It didn't come through.
I need you to do me a favor, sir.
What's that?
It's going to be a big one, but I'm going to make you do it.
Oh, are you?
I'm going to try.
I'll be right back, fellas. Hold up.
All right.
Sir. Listen, we've tinkled a few times.
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do, sir. Never mind.
No? All right. Well, since he left, should I get into my Picard stuff?
Might as well. I knew you were waiting to light up about it. Eyebrows rose to the top of your fucking hairline as soon as. Okay, but wait.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
No, this is still on Picard. I'm not gonna play you like that.
All right, I'm listening.
So, if I was interested in watching, since we know that it's free due to the quarantine,
It sounds like it's free on CBS All Access.
now, is it like Marvel, where there's certain like seasons of the actual,
of like the of Star Trek: The Next Generation,
that I should watch
or
before I watch
what
that?
I would say is
Excuse me.
the only thing that you might want to watch is the last Star Trek: The Next Generation movie, which is Star Trek Nemesis.
When did it come out?
2004 or 2006.
I think I may have seen it.
It's the one
Was it
where
where they were in the pods? Like it was like the pods in the ship?
No. This was the movie, not one of the shows.
It was a movie.
So it was.
He like broke into this spot, like it was like the spot where the enemies were, but they were shooting pods out individually of the people, like to. You know what I'm talking about? And it was on a ring.
Is it with Patrick Stewart?
Is
No,
that the-
I think that's later. I think what
you
you're
get
talking
off
about.
They were like on a ring outside.
I think what you're talking about is
Fighting or something.
one of the most recent ones, which is Star Trek Beyond with like Chris Pine and
Could be.
Zachary Quinto.
Oh no!
and that.
No! It was definitely like I was a kid.
Oh,
Like I was 8th, 9th grade. When it came
I'm
out.
not tracking which one you're talking about then, because I don't remember that, and I'm a pretty big.
I know you are. I went to see.
You
the
might
movie.
you might have it mixed up with something that's not Star Trek.
No. All I know is their spaceship, the enemy spaceship, or the spaceship where the good guys were, was a ring. And the enemies were dropping pods down onto the ring, and the enemies were coming out, and they were fighting outside of the ship, like slow jumps and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
That might be First Contact. That might be the
That's
one with the
right.
Borg. Was it robot-looking guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so
This was long before
this
the
was
news
What
this
ring
was
are you talking about?
he's talking about Star Trek First Contact.
I know,
The
but
Borg
what
coming
ring?
out down on top of the Enterprise E,
And they were like,
where they're fighting on top of the
exactly.
ship
Oh,
when they're
on
dealing
the
with the
deflector.
deflector shield.
when
Yeah,
the young dude wasn't in it yet.
yeah. So no,
I
it's
think
the
it
one.
was-
It's
Damn
one or
it,
two
Cliff, you gotta
after
get your
that.
terminology right.
Okay.
So it's one or two after that. Star Trek Nemesis. So it
So
went
is that the one with Spock?
First Contact.
Spock
no,
with the black chick?
no, but you're not far off. It's the one right before that. So Star Trek 2009 is the one which is Spock with the black chick.
But
So
didn't
that's
they
Spock
have
and Uhura. So that's the reboot. That's Star Trek 2009.
Okay.
Not bad,
2000, 2005 or 2006 is Star Trek Nemesis. It's the last Next Generation
Okay.
movie.
Well, that's good because I'll watch a movie over a full season. So I
Yeah,
can
so
watch the
you would
movie
be better
then.
off watching the movie because
Picard.
what happens in the movie is one of Picard's crew members dies. The crew
Right.
member that dies is Lieutenant Commander Data, who's an android.
I remember Data.
He's
The
like
Chinese
white
looking
face
one or whatever.
with yellow eyes.
Right.
Yeah. So Star Trek Picard is all
He wasn't
about
Chinese looking.
I don't want to say all about, but it is primarily about the fact that the Federation, which is where Picard and company lives, has basically said they're not going to allow synthetic life anymore. So androids, which Data was.
Right.
So
That was the white dude that kind of looked like Pee Wee Herman, kind of.
kind of.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Never really thought about him like that.
But didn't he though?
So what's
I thought he
You're
was
not wrong.
Asian.
You're
At
not
first, I
wrong.
thought Asian dude,
Not
but then I
wrong.
thought that's
Not
the
wrong.
gay dude.
that's Sulu? Yeah.
The dude he's talking about is Pee Wee Herman with the slick back.
Yes,
He had a
with the slick back hair.
Uh-huh.
So
See, I know a little something.
Commander Data dies in Star Trek Nemesis. So where Picard picks up, and this is actually what I found interesting being a big Star Trek fan. Picard picks up where the 2009 Star Trek with Chris Pine.
Mm-hmm.
That movie starts with Commander Spock
Right.
kind of trying to save the Romulans and then going back in time.
Right. That was the young Spock.
Right, exactly. It's the old Spock that saves them, but it's the
But
young Spock who
that
meets
starts
up with
the-
him later.
Exactly. Yep. I see. I'm following.
So basically, where Spock goes back in time,
Mm-hmm.
Picard picks up from the moment he left
he took
20
over
years
while
later.
Okay, that
so
makes
this is
perfect
the
sense.
whole branching
makes perfect
timelines
sense.
thing, right?
Okay.
So Spock goes back in time, new timeline over here.
That makes perfect
Picard
sense.
is still over here on the normal timeline.
Right. That makes
So they
perfect
call
sense.
this the prime timeline. So Picard picks up 20 years after that
This new
in the
one.
prime. Yep.
Okay.
Picks up in the prime timeline. Basically, Picard, as one of his last acts as an admiral in Starfleet, said, we should try to save the Romulans, which is what Spock was trying to do.
Right.
Spock was not successful. The sun that was going supernova that Spock was trying to stop went supernova.
Right.
And so the Romulan Empire was destroyed.
Right.
Picard,
kind
alternate
of going
timeline.
back, this is going back before the first reboot of Star Trek.
correct. Well, it branches off from the same event. So
I see.
at the
I'm
beginning
following.
of the 2009 Star Trek is when Spock tries to stop the sun from going supernova
Right.
and ends up going back in time. This basically says the supernova happened anyways, and Picard takes place 20 years after that supernova.
So that's a little.
See,
off
when
of
they
what I
start
was
doing the
thinking.
time travel thing, man, whew.
Well, I think the whole thing is I actually that was the one thing I liked about the Star Trek reboot is they did it in a Star Trek way because by going back in time, what happened was you split the timeline.
Right. No,
Similar
I
to the way the
appreciate
Avengers happened, right?
Right,
Like
right. With
appreciate
Captain
the fuck
America.
out of the way Star Trek did it because they made
How-
the entire
listen.
reboot possible by branching off into this
right.
new
They
time.
went back and it's a new timeline. So Picard is happening in what I'll call the prime timeline of the original Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. Those are all in the prime timeline.
Okay.
So basically, supernova happens, Romulus is destroyed, Picard tried to save the Romulans. While Picard was trying to save the Romulans, synthetic life attacked the Federation.
Intriguing.
So synthetic life
So like
attacks...
on the top of the ship
Exactly.
when they were.
Very similar, except it was androids like Data.
Okay.
So androids attacked, I think it's Utopia Planitia on Mars. They attacked the Federation, and what happens is the Federation says, we're not going to save Romulans, we're going to protect our own, kind of what's happening in this country right now. We're going to protect our own, and the Romulans, you're on your own, fuck all y'all. And by the way, we're going to ban synthetic life here in the Federation.
Yeah. So we're gonna build a wall.
Basically.
Okay. Well, I thought, like Data was like a standalone next to his brother.
I did too. I thought he was.
Well,
too,
but
I
what
didn't
they're
know
saying
anything
is
about a
that
brother. He had a brother?
is that somebody tried to basically clone Data
Okay.
or do the same thing that Data was. What I will say is nobody was successful except for Data's real life
Let me
brother.
tell you something.
Which, by the way, this is all spoiler shit. So sorry.
It's not, you're speaking Spanish to me, so I'm
To
gonna
you,
see
but
it,
I might
and I'm
have
gonna
one
be
or
like,
two viewers that actually are trying to watch.
I'm picking up on. Just drop it one more time. Where can we watch the live stream of this going for
the
free
CBS All Access.
CBS All Access is for Picard.
Mm-hmm.
now? But like if you don't have
That
CBS
movie
All
that-
Access, like where can I stream it for free?
No,
I
I
know.
think CBS All Access
I-
is. I think CBS All Access is offering free to everyone.
And I
right
know
now.
YouTube had at least the
Really?
first two
Yeah.
episodes.
Something like
I
that.
saw the first 2 episodes on YouTube.
So that's
It's
where.
not like some trial promo. Like once coronavirus is done, you owe us $1 million.
No, what I think it is
Now-
it's probably go ahead and binge it, and they think they can keep
Matt.
you around.
I'm glad you asked, Matt, because I meant to ask you about Pornhub Premium. Do I need to put a card number in for this Pornhub Premium?
So what I will tell you is, as a previous premium member, I'm not getting charged anymore, so I don't know whether or not you need to actually pay.
Yep. See, because I tried that.
I had a
Yep,
gift
no.
To
card.
get you.
Fuck Pornhub.
No, but here's the thing: is you pay it on a gift card,
Right.
on like a Visa cash card.
That way they can't continue.
That
to
way
charge
they
you.
can't keep charging you.
Right. No, I get that. I just never.
Gotta work the system.
Right.
I get it. I knew that much, but I was thinking. I saw it on there, free premium. I clicked it, and they were like, "What's your name? What's your card number? What's your
Right,
social?
they get your card number.
What's your last girlfriend's name? What's her card number?" And I was like, "Listen, bro, virtual
You
tips
guys
aren't
asking
that
too many
important to me."
questions.
You know
Which
what I
is
mean?
why I'm telling you, like, if you do it with a Visa gift card or something, they can't
Right.
charge you again.
I like
All right, so coming back to Picard.
Right.
So I've
Sorry,
set the
guys.
stage. Basically. So Picard takes place 30 years after, or it's either 20 or 30 years after all of that shit goes down.
Right.
What I will say is the series itself, not that great.
The Picard
I was
series.
not a big fan for probably the middle 6, 7 episodes out of the 10.
I won't know in that.
The first 2 episodes were really good. The middle 5 or 6 are good for when they do cameos from, and again,
Like
as
old shit.
a big time fan, maybe it won't be the same. Like Cliff, if you watch it, or Matt, if you watch, I don't know how big of a Next Generation
I don't
fan
know
you were.
enough as you.
Oh,
so
dude,
it
I
may
grew
not-
up on Next Generation.
So you will like it the same places
bring back,
I
like,
did,
Worf
where
and
they
Brett?
had the cameos.
The only episode I've ever seen of Star Wars is that one that
Star
we
Trek.
watched. I'm already on the
Cliff.
wrong thing.
God damn it.
Right. It's the one we watched up here when I was staying with you, where they were in the Western.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Where,
With-
like,
but
they
that
were,
was
like,
in the
in a-
holodeck and all that. And
Right,
it was
like
Worf
something
and his kid.
That
And
was just like one
Yeah.
episode, man.
you're right.
But that was the one.
That was
episode
the one episode
I've
you
ever
remember.
seen all the way through and know about.
So what I will say is the middle, we'll call it the middle 6 episodes, because I think the first 2 kind of set up the story,
Right.
and the last 2 finish the story.
Okay.
The middle 6 are basically
Filler.
I don't want to say filler, but it's like samurai spaghetti western, like he's building his team.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. I like shit like that.
Which you might. And one of the team members I love, because it's Jerry Ryan, who played 7 of 9 on Voyager, who's basically
Oh,
in,
hey.
if you're a Voyager fan, like
said, oh,
ex-Borg, but
I know a Borg. I know.
you know the
something
Borg
about
are
him.
the Borg are the cyborgs that are basically the human
Nobody
robot
cares about
combination.
that.
Wasn't
when it
that-
comes to
wasn't
Ryan.
Geordi?
That is not why we watch
Geordi wasn't, but Geordi similarly used the same kind of technology at different
okay.
points.
Okay.
So the middle 6 episodes are all Picard kind of building his team. So the first 2 episodes set everything up. The middle 6 are him building his team. The last 2 episodes are them wrapping up the story.
Right.
What I will say is anybody that has played the game Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3,
I watched you play it.
you've seen the fucking story. So the story
watched
for
you play it.
Picard about synthetic life is that the synthetic life eventually hits a point where it you basically hit, it's not the singularity in terms of the difference between real life and AI,
Right.
but it's the singularity in terms of eventually AI wants to take over.
Right.
And so it's the exact same story as Mass Effect in terms of once synthetic life hits a certain point, it calls in help from other synthetic life that to basically come in and wipe out organic life.
Right. And then we can start
Organic
this shit
being
over.
people, and then basically it all starts over.
Right.
That's exactly the plot of Star Trek Picard.
And this is exactly why I say.
But to your point of it, everything being derivative, I was so pissed when I was watching this shit, because I'm like, they completely ripped off Mass Effect 3.
It's a simulation theory.
And spoiler alert, again, spoiler alert, I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Picard dies at the end.
Oh shit.
Ah,
And they
Shouldn't
put
he, though?
him into an android body that looks just like him. Because when he died, I'm like, this motherfucker's not dead. He can't be dead because he asked Whoopi to come on to season 2.
dude,
Right.
that's such a rip off of Nemesis. I mean, you think Data dies, and then all of a sudden back in this new stupid Data form.
Well, and that's the thing is
Wasn't
that
that the same
Data
with, like, all the Marvel shit they
Data
do?
dies in Nemesis, and then that's kind of the whole point in this series is that all of the synthetic life that exists in this series is based off of Data's programming.
Listen, this makes perfect fucking sense. And maybe I'm going too deep here, but this makes perfect fucking sense why people are flipping out over this coronavirus. Because
Oh shit!
real talk though, real
On a
talk.
full
Follow
I
me.
gotta hear this.
Follow me both here. Because
I am.
back in the day when we were young, me, we being not the royal we like you, but being Matt and Mike and Cliff,
which we're all about 34, right?
we had to
Yeah.
we had to deal with Bambi, Mufasa.
Mm-hmm.
There were no coming back when people died.
Right.
back
True.
in the
You were
day.
done.
True.
Now these kids,
Everybody comes back.
these kids flip out so much. It's like, oh, we're gonna kill them, but Spider-Man
Guess
will
what?
come
They'll
back.
be back.
Don't
They'll be
flip
back.
out.
They'll be back. Don't worry
They'll
about
be
it.
back because in
They call
alternate universe, that didn't happen.
And
when
I
we were young.
completely agree with
They
you on
call
all
that
of
the
that.
Disney-
So now people are flipping out because it's like, oh, death is really, like, it's real. It's real. People are really dying and we don't get to see it. We knew that, though. We fucking knew that. This is idiocracy now, and you young fucks don't know when you die, you're gone. Stop licking toilet seats. God, take them out, Lord. Get rid of them. Goodness.
That right there is the clip I'm going to use in the next intro video.
Take them out, Lord. Goodness gracious. Now we got to the point where directors can't even kill someone without bringing in an alternate reality. Game of Thrones did it.
Everybody's done it, and on
Marvel-
that, fools agree.
Hey, Marvel
These
and
kids
the
are
Avengers,
soft.
they actually did kill Tony Stark.
They
Yeah,
did do that.
for right now.
Right.
For now, hey, but they
Has
did,
there been
you
an
know,
has there been a movie after that?
No, not yet.
No.
Right.
I know.
So
He's gonna
don't tell
fly
me
back-
Tony Stark's
He's
dead.
gonna fly back
There
in a
has
blue
been.
and gold outfit like this.
There's
Robert
been one.
Downey
It was
Jr.
Spider-Man.
on Rogan's podcast saying that if he was offered the role, he would probably turn it down.
Who? Tony did?
Yeah,
or,
whatever. He was still in
Robert
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Robert Downey Jr. was?
Yeah,
Rob-
but it
no,
was
I'm
but it was
talking
as a
about-
I know what you
hologram.
mean.
In terms of Avengers, you know, and Rogan
Uh-huh.
actually posed this
That
question.
motherfucker
you know,
ain't
because
turning
they
shit
broke
down.
the
Until
line.
they back a
Yeah.
dump truck full
Right.
of money up to his house.
He's an
Like that
ex-addict.
motherfucker needs any more money, man.
He's an ex-addict, bro.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm agreeing with you. But
He's an
until they
ex-addict.
back a truck up to his house.
Listen, addicts do not lose their
You know,
addiction. They just transfer it to a different addiction. Tony Stark is definitely still addicted to money. You understand what I'm saying? Robert Downey Jr. is just
Character,
gonna be
yes.
like, nah.
Rob Downey- I
What are
don't
you
know.
now addicted to solitude?
After again, you know why I like Rogan's podcast, because after 3 hours of listening to somebody talk, you kind of get a feel for.
He was
how full
on
of
there
shit
though,
they are.
wasn't he? I didn't
I
watch
don't
that
think
one.
Robert Downey Jr. is that full of shit.
Yeah, I
you
didn't
know?
watch that one. I'll give you that. Because I did see him on Rogan's podcast, and I did not watch that one. I will give you that.
Dude, like after listening to that dude talk for 3 hours, he's legit, man.
I wouldn't imagine him to be full of shit. I'm just saying from a standpoint of addiction, we all know you don't lose addictions, you just transfer them. I changed my
Touché.
cocaine addiction to a gym addiction. Now I'm in the gym all day. But
Oh no, I think he's more addicted to being, you know, like the I don't know if he's going for.
that was just that was just hypothetical speaking. I'm not saying about him or anything.
I know,
but-
dude had a bad coke habit, you know, and whatever the hell else he was getting.
yeah, that was
into,
just
you know. Who
a
can blame him?
coincidence.
You know,
I
he's
used
fucking
that.
Robert
I
Downey Jr.
apologize, but
But no, I mean, I think his addictions have changed more towards, you know, I don't know if he's trying to be, who is a fucking guy
I get
from
what you're saying.
Gangsta New York?
I get what you're getting at. I'm
Who's
following
that
you.
actor? Sorry,
Not Leonardo DiCaprio.
no, the other guy.
the main dude, the dude with the mustache and the beard.
Yeah.
Um,
There Will Be Blood.
same
what
dude
is
from
his name?
I can't.
Oh,
think
it's
of
right
his name.
there. I'm gonna
Yeah, that's gonna bother me too.
kick myself in the ass with this.
God damn.
All right,
You
that's
asked
the
me
booze
to-
talking right there.
But right. But I understand what you're saying.
No, but that Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
He's striving for that Daniel Day-Lewis
Okay.
style of,
Right.
you know,
Right.
like gravitas.
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
like, I can do anything now.
Right.
Who we talking about?
Well, we
I had to go pee.
Well, we were talking about Robert Downey Jr., and I said the reason why I don't think that he would turn down another Avengers movie is because he was a previous addict.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, addictions don't end.
They don't go away.
Transfer to new addictions,
right.
which means he probably changed his addiction from this to work, or this to money,
yep.
or this to this. So which
no.
leads
I'm
me
agreeing
to
with
not.
you on the work aspect of it. It's not, like you. I think your initial argument was that he's changed his addiction to money.
Well,
Versus
I'm just saying. I was giving that as an example, not necessarily saying.
All right, I dig. I'm saying my prerogative on it is his new addiction. At least based on the limited 3 hours I listened to him.
Right.
But it's hardly a stipulation for his life.
But you're probably right. It's probably work.
He sounds like he's more interested in being more creative and pursuing a new role. He's been Iron Man.
He's going into the Johnny Depp stage of things. That's the same route. It's the same.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you're going into the Johnny Depp, where now I'm beyond drugs and money. I'm just trying to be a hip, weird kind of guy.
Right.
Unless Robert Downey Jr. gets divorced and his wife takes all of his money, and then he might go back for that.
But you know what though, Robert Downey Jr. was also poor before he was big.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying
I don't know that Johnny Depp was.
Johnny Depp immersed himself in being
Crybaby was very young Johnny Depp.
And he was kind of done with it until his wife divorced him, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I need that money back."
Right. Or maybe not. I need that money back. Maybe now I can be myself. Now I don't have to appease this woman. I can be me.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not getting married, ladies and gentlemen. Let me be Johnny Depp without the drugs or the work addictions.
Right.
Lord knows I don't have a drug or a work addiction. Goodness gracious! Now money,
drugs.
I clearly don't even have money because they ask me to do overtime all the time, and I'm like, ask them.
Listen,
I won't be there. I'm a single dad. I have my kid on the weekends. I'm not coming in. That's the only time I get my kid.
I don't need all that.
Right. Yeah, you're not more important than my child. So they leave me alone. They come around, they say, Cliff, I'm not even asking you, but does anybody want to do overtime? I'm like, thank you for not including me.
Right.
I'll do it if I say I want to.
Goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
Priorities.
All right. Well, hey, man.
Hey,
y'all. We're at about 2:15 right now.
Hey.
That's a long show for us.
I can talk to y'all for the rest of my days.
But that's the whole thing is you don't have to.
Right.
And we will have other shows.
Well, it sounds to me like
should we start to wrapping it up?
We got a recurring guest here, so
I'm all game for Matt being a recurring guest if he's up for it. So
well, he has his own equipment, as we know.
Anytime you guys have me.
Well, but that's the thing though, is he's not using his equipment. He's using his tablet or his phone.
That's
to
fine
record
though,
this
as
shit.
long as we have a picture. We just need to figure out how we can display the picture.
I keep trying to figure out the picture.
Yeah,
I don't know that that's gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna happen. We speak shit into existence around here. It's
I keep trying, and I keep not being able to figure it out.
We're gonna keep trying.
Streamlabs. Hopefully this Corona shit passes and it's a non-issue and I could join you guys for real. The way I prefer to do a podcast.
For real.
I don't like doing Skype.
I don't disagree, but I will say that it, and we'll have to listen to it, but I think based on the feedback that I got from one or two people during the show, the audio actually wasn't bad. And so even though we're doing the live stream and it'd be great to pull in the video feed, at the end of the day, the audience that I care about is the podcast and the audio side, because I don't know that anybody's looking at a screen for 2 hours listening to us.
They're not at all.
Right.
But they're listening.
Listening.
Right.
Podcast,
but they are listening.
That's how I am, though.
Right.
I'll watch it, but I don't usually get through the whole thing watching it. But on my podcast while I'm working.
Exactly. I'm listening to it. I may be watching it through YouTube.
But
I'm not watching it. I'm listening to it.
But now that I work from home, it'll be on the TV while I.
Well, you might. Which is
I'm not watching TV, boss.
And then you will.
Mike,
see,
it'll be on the TV.
And then you will see that
while
the video takes about 3, 4, 5 seconds to connect over, which pisses me off. But I can't control it. Until I start running this all off a desktop instead of a laptop. Maybe that's what I should have done.
I don't think so.
Well, just get fucking like.
I mean, it probably would be, more reliable, but I don't think that that's necessarily the.
Well, I don't know that it would be more.
Another $3,000 into this. Get a better computer. Get a like 300 megabit connection to your house, and you're good.
Well, my thing here was to bring the TV up here so that we could watch fights and stuff up here.
We're gonna do companions. My whole thing is
down the rabbit hole now, man. There's no turning back.
We speak things into existence around here, so Mike's not gonna have to spend another $3,000 because we're gonna make it off of our views and our advertising.
That's what I hope.
Oh no, there's no hope about it. That's what we know.
Let's do it.
They call that reinvesting.
It's already.
So does that mean we got to get Matt to go out and share the podcast and share the live stream? Oh, well, actually, Matt, share the podcast because the live stream doesn't pay us, but the podcast does.
That's right. Listen, and I'm sure that even though your podcast still isn't going, you still got a nice fan base out there. Let them know you've been on a podcast for a good 2.5 hours that they'd have content for.
I mean, I tell you what, that's what I did is I took the old 150 Proof Records page and I blasted the shit out of this on that. Because we had 150 fans on that page back in the day.
Listen.
That means I'm going to have to get back on social media, and I'm not keen on that.
Well, all right, well, then just tell your people.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Tell them to go out to Apple Podcasts, look up Do Fools Agree.
Listen, I just share Mike's post every week and say what he said.
What he said.
That's exactly what I do every week. What he said. He said, it's our 10th episode. I said, 10th episode, listen, post.
Which, by the way, double digits. Congrats, sir.
It was a good one. I'm happy for the guest that
I'm happy we had a guest too, and I'm hoping we can do that more frequently.
I feel like this was a good one.
I don't disagree.
And even though this podcast is ending, fools agree that I will be refilling this beer. How about that, you sons of bitches?
We might have to go join my wife for her virtual happy hour downstairs.
We definitely may, because this is a Friday that I've been working from home all week. This really counts. You hear what I'm saying? Can I get one more fool?
Oh, I'm empty, but I got you.
Let's go. Listen.
I raise a beer to you.
Appreciate it, Matt.
My brethren.
Wait.
You do not
wait. We gotta get Matt on the camera.
Hey,
cheers.
Let's get it.
Cheers, fellas.
Listen.
All right, Matt. Hey, we will have you back on, sir. Cliff, take us out.
Love everyone. Don't be what's the word for the Chinese people?
Ignorant.
Not racist. That's not the word I mean. You know how people are being to the Chinese people about the coronavirus. Don't be ignorant.
That's what I said.
I know, but I'm agreeing with you now because I can't find it. What is the word they use? They use it all the time. You political fucks use it. You political fucks.
I don't know what words you're looking for.
You know what I'm... Don't be racist. Love everyone. If they're Chinese and you feel uncomfortable, keep your mouth shut and just move a couple steps to the left. We'll see you next week.
I had a final note here for the coronavirus outbreak. If you're looking for shit in the grocery store and can't find it, go to the Asian markets because they're fully stocked.
Oh shit!
Hot fucking
toilet paper.
Hot fucking take, ladies and gentlemen. I work by one, live by another. Let's get it. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy, Matt. Thank you.